Save up to 25% your first year with my name, Clay, as your promo code at lifelock.com, promo code Clay.
I'm Irene Kurtelowicz, and I've been a hospice nurse for over 32 years. My passion and my love is to take care of our hospice patients and families who are at home surrounded by the people and the things they love most. Our hospice team brings comfort, continuity, dignity, and compassion 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The patient and their caregiver never need to feel alone. We are just a phone call away. Family members always want the best of care for their loved one, and one of the things hospice affords me is the opportunity to go above and beyond the normal care that a person could receive. My position allows me to provide quality care to the patient and provide much-needed support to the family. Patients do not want to leave the comfort of their home and their loved ones. We all know there is no place like home, and it is our privilege and honor to care for them wherever they call home. I encourage anyone who could benefit from our services to call today.
Hospice and palliative care. When you need us most.
I'm Anthony Pacenti. As county executive, I tackled tough issues. I acted to make our schools safer for our children. I immediately stopped the immoral attempt to bus illegal migrants into Oneida County. I continue to work every day to combat the scourge of the opiate epidemic in our community. I will continue to tackle tough issues head on, and I won't let bad decisions in Albany stop us. And I ask for your vote on November 7th.
Leadership and a vision for the future is how Oneida County is moving forward. Oneida County Executive Tony Pacenti.
We've made significant investments in healthcare and public safety, created new opportunities in tourism and youth sports, and invested big in high-tech, state-of-the-art research, resulting in high-quality jobs right here at home.
Oneida County is working, growing, and moving forward. On November 7th, let's keep it that way. Re-elect Tony Pacenti, Oneida County Executive.
Paid for by Friends of Tony Pacenti.
Keeler Show today. It's time to read the news and weather. Time to figure out what to say. It's time to turn the channel of the Keeler Show today. Why do we always listen? Keeler's always in the know. It makes me want to call him and tell him where to go. And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started. It's time to get things started. On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Okay, good morning, good morning, good
John
morning.
and Marie heard about mattress.
Didn't know where that came from. Good morning, and we this morning are live from the all-new and soon-to-open Wynn Hospital. And Jeff Manansky standing by there. I'm going to join him in a few minutes. Jeff, good morning.
Hey, good morning. I'm in the front lobby here, and yeah, it's obviously quiet because it's not officially open yet.
That's funny. I mean, there's no running around. There's no stat. There's no any of that.
Yeah.
So, we've been through the hospital, I believe, twice. And
yes.
Each time we have been through, we've had to wear goggles. We had to wear a hard hat.
We had to wear those cute little, what do they call them? Boots? Footsies?
We had the little footsies and the gloves. And
the little foot covers.
And but now that's all done, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And matter of fact, yesterday when I was here setting up, they were still doing some tours for folks who haven't relocated here yet. My understanding is, and we'll get the full answer later this morning. But some folks have relocated to this to the new hospital now at Wynn Hospital at this point. But obviously, everybody comes officially on Sunday.
Everybody comes. It's hard to believe we're right to we're down to the point where this is all coming to fruition.
It seems to me to be so surreal in that there's been so much anticipation and so much work that went into this, and then to know that it's about to actually open up is kind of surreal. It's very exciting. And then, the two existing facilities, I feel like it's close to Halloween. Can we start doing ghost tours and haunted tours at the new facilities yet? We'll have to ask when we talk to Darlene and Bob this morning.
If they already have something, right? I don't know. Has anybody, God forbid, anybody passed? Well, a hospital, people pass away. So it's funny how.
Right? Yeah, and you figure St. E's is so old. I mean, how many?
I know. What is interesting, which I'm not the ghosting type of person. I don't necessarily believe in all of that stuff. And I do know that last night. Town Square was at Hotel Utica. So all the radio stations were invited to Hotel Utica, where supposedly one of the rooms is haunted. In fact, my son is on a YouTube show, and they travel all over the Northeast to abandoned places and haunted houses and that sort of thing. And they were all at Hotel Utica last night. Because the legend has it that one of the rooms or the entire place is somewhat haunted. You know what I find interesting about that is why do you never hear about so and so General or NYU Langone, which has been around for a long time, or all these hospitals that have been around for years and years? Why aren't they haunted?
Well, they are, Bill. They just don't admit to it.
That's I knew there was a reason there.
Well, and if I could follow up, and again, I'm not saying I'm any kind of an authority on this, and I'm probably wrong. I've gone through those nights where like it's too dark in the basement, so you don't want to go get the laundry because you think someone's down there.
Yeah,
I mean, that's equally.
Oh, is your laundry? Your laundry is in your basement. Yeah.
Yes, that's where my washer and dryer are.
Okay.
So,
is it a finished basement?
No.
Okay.
No. It looks like a basement. Yeah.
But it's like it's a concrete floor and all of that.
Concrete floor, yeah. Concrete walls and spider webs. There's plenty of spider webs down there too, which spooked me more than probably the ghost would. But when you say there's a room that's haunted, does the ghost have like one of those halo dog collars where he or she can only be in that room, like they can't wander the halls? Or they can't go up into the attic or the lower levels.
I hate to be making fun of it, but you're right. That's exactly how I feel with the whole thing. And there are great believers. There's no doubt about it. And they claim they've seen things and they've heard things. I know of a restaurant person who worked in an old restaurant and swore to God that things happened, and it looked kind of like someone who used to live at the house and she died there, or there was a horrible death or something. Maybe at hospitals, it's like, I've always said it's the most beautiful. The Wynn Hospital is the most beautiful place you never want to go to. And
exactly. That's so well said.
That's the
most beautiful hospital you never want to have to visit.
You never want to have to visit. And I kind of wonder if maybe the afterlife feels the same way. It's like, I ain't going to haunt here. I want out of this place. I am not staying here. Garden. That's right. Have you seen St. A's? For God's sakes, I'm not living here. I'm not haunting here.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it is something that when you think about it, it said that your mom had worked at St. Luke's in the cafeteria for 40 years.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's going to be emotional. It's going to be emotional for her this weekend when that place, which was her home away from home for 40 years, closes down. I think of St. E's, where, and I'm sure family after family after family has stories where someone might have passed away, someone might have been saved at one of these hospitals. For me, at St. E's is where I had my colorectal cancer surgery. And it's where I was in the hospital for a week after having that surgery. So that place has it's a very important memory that I have in my life. And all of that stuff kind of just becomes memories this weekend and moves on to a brand new location. It's kind of interesting to think about.
It is, and I can tell you, my mother, I don't know if you've ever met my mother, but she's an absolute sweetheart, and she's wonderful. But I know my mother is emotional. She gets emotional sometimes, and I can imagine that she's going to, I don't know if she's scheduled to work this weekend, but whatever her last shift is, I would imagine she's going to be very teary-eyed and sad that, as you said, for 40 years, it was kind of her home away from home.
Yeah.
And I would imagine she's going to be struck by at least a moment of, wow, this was a huge part of my life, and it's time to turn the page. The other thing I want to mention, in all fairness, is that we were kind of talking about haunted buildings and investigations and spirits, if you will. So that happened last night, but I just want to say, for decades, people laughed about Coast to Coast AM, a program that we air overnight from 1 to 5 on WIBX, and they would talk about UFOs and who saw what, and Roswell and Area 51. And what was it, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, the U.S. government came out and really lended a lot of credibility to the idea that there are UFOs. I can't remember the exact quote that government official said, that they had non-human or it was alien DNA or something that they had in the government's possession. So I'm just saying, it's not my cup of tea. I'm not poking holes in everything, but I'm just saying, you never know. I'm just not a believer.
John and Marie heard about Mattress Expresses.
Why does he keep trying to talk to us, Davey? I don't get it. Did I hit a button by mistake? I must have. Hold on, Jeff. Did I lose you there? Are you good?
No, I'm still here.
Okay.
But I can tell you, John and Marie wanted a mattress.
John and Marie want on the air about this mattress. They're really, really interested to talk about the mattress.
We'll talk to them at 6:45.
But I have to say that I look at the alien life and the ghost life, the haunted life, as two different things. So where I believe that there's got to be some sort of life form out there, and it may be a life form in a way that we never ever expected. Right? We think they're going to come and look like Martians, the Martians you saw on TV and in sci-fi, but maybe they look more like creatures, or maybe they look more like insects, or who knows what they end up looking like. I'm kind of interested. There is a show on Netflix that digs into all of that if you want to check it out. I forget the name of it now, but Houck turned me on to it. It's really, really good and a little scary. Okay, let's talk about a couple of things. So just give you an idea. I'll be heading over to the hospital in just a little bit, and after that we have a busy show this morning, because you know that in addition to the hospital, and we're going to talk to Bob and Darlene coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, and that's going to be very interesting because we talked to Bob through this whole hospital process back when it was just a vision and a plan, and all of the negativity and all of the shouldn't go there and all of that. It's going to be very interesting to bring it all full circle. Meanwhile, the No Hospital Downtown banner still lingers off the side of Brett Truitt's building, just down Oriskany Street, and I almost find it to be apropos, like it's almost a token of all of the effort and all of the work that everybody put into this thing to make it turn into something that is real. Because despite the hanging of that banner that still lingers out there, the hospital lights are on, and it opens up this Sunday. It's really quite interesting, right? So
yeah. I think it's like a historical marker to some degree, and I think I've kind of said, we see these pictures sometimes of downtown Utica in the 30s or the 40s or the 60s. And you go, oh, look how that intersection was constructed at that time, or how it was assembled. Or don't you remember what's the very famous building that was next to the Boston store? It wasn't Montgomery Ward, was it? I can't remember what it was.
Well, no, you had Woolworths. You had, there's so many different buildings from back then that were, probably still exist today, but look differently.
Yeah, and you look, and then if somebody's got a picture in the last, 6 years of downtown facing in that direction, in 50 years, I don't know, your grandkids or my grandkids might say, what is this big banner that says no hospital downtown? What's that all about? And it's like, well, and then you got a little story to tell. It was a sign of the times.
Yeah, I guess it is.
But, I do agree that at some point, that should come down. It's like on the rare occasion that the Mets win the NLCS, we don't hang that. We don't hang it on the outside of the building. When the new season rolls around, we put up a new sign type of a deal,
I would think that at this point it represents the disgruntled right to the very end, the bitter feeling, the thought that it destroys downtown. And in 50 years looking back, there's going to be a vision of downtown. And I don't believe that people will say in 50 years, like we said about urban renewal of the 1960s. It's like, man, urban renewal just destroyed downtowns. And I do think that maybe we'll look back on this as we've learned a lot from that. But if you're Brett Truitt or you're Jim Brock and that group, you believe that's wrong, that it will destroy the downtown. But it is what it is. But I almost feel like it makes them look like, and I know this sounds ridiculous, but sport plays a big role in our life. Not everybody, but a lot of us. And it just makes you look disgruntled and a sore loser. It's like, at what point are you going to be like, all right, listen, you got me. I'm taking it down. We're gonna hold a ceremony. We're all gonna drink to the destruction of downtown, and we're taking down the sign. But no, it still is up there, almost to create to be a thorn in the side of those who push so hard for it. But at the end of the day, when you're driving someone through, and I've had this literally happen, people are like, what is that? No, what is that sign all about? And then you tell the story. Well, there were these two guys that were so against the hospital. Everything they did was about trying to prevent the hospital from opening. And they even opened up this downtown office, and they called it No Hospital Downtown. And there were banners around the city. And, but the hospital's here, says the person in your car. And you're like, yeah, but they just can't let it go. And it kind of makes them look bad, I think, at this point. But it does become a talking piece. Like it or not, it does. And you're right. There's got to come the point where, I'd have been okay if you left the Woolworths sign up, but I think this one's got to go. Right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
This one kind of has to go.
Keep the Woolworths sign, take the No Hospital.
All right, with all of that said, it's hard to believe that the mayor's race is going to, and we're going to talk to Mike Galimi. He'll be inside the hospital with us in the 7 o'clock hour. I'm excited to see that. And Mike is running as the Republican. Facing the other two main candidates, Bob Cardillo, the conservative, who has been controversial in his own right, as just recently the PBA of Utica said he should get out of the race. He shouldn't be in the race. In fact, that's why they would not allow him to screen for a possible endorsement. And, oh, by the way, they called the other candidate, the Democrat, a socialist. That would be Celeste Friend, who's running as the Democrat. So who would have thought that how you felt about the opening of the hospital downtown would still be playing a role in this election for mayor in Utica? But it is. And that we're going to play coming up, Katie Aiello will play an interview with her where she claims that Mike Galimi, who came on the air last week and said, I was never against the hospital. I was just doing my due diligence, and I think he'll say something similar. But there was an OD interview that represented him as someone who was anti-hospital downtown, and there was an interview he did with a high school kid that showed up on YouTube, Luke Radel, and who's in college now, and actually, Jeff, am I correct in saying that Luke actually did an interview recently with Mike Galimi?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe in the last week.
Is that a? Can you send me the link to that, because I could play that
I'll
coming
see if
up
I
here.
can find this. Somebody either sent it to me or directed me toward it, and I got the impression, that it was shot, if not in the last couple of weeks,
like right after
maybe
even right after the forum the other night. Anyway, as you're looking for that, I'll tell you that. That is an issue, and I believe that, and you'll hear from Katie Aiello coming up here. You will hear her, and she's double down. She's going to double down on this. As she says, no, he
Double
did it.
Dutch, Bill.
He
Double
was
Dutch.
indeed against the hospital going downtown, and these interviews show it. So I think they're going to make that an issue in this last 2 weeks of the campaign. She and Celeste Friend. So we'll hear from that interview coming up in just a second. And then I want to take you to Rome, where last night the Rome Capitol Theater, I believe it was the Chamber and the NAACP, and the League of Women Voters put on I call it a forum, but it was more like a debate last night, I thought. I don't know if you saw any of this, but it was live streamed, and it would be up on the Facebook page of the Rome Capitol. I watched this, and it was quite an interesting debate between Mayor Jackie Izzo and her challenger, Jeff Lanigan. Did you see any of it, Jeff?
I did not know.
Okay, so I did watch it, and at one point, and I'll have some audio for you a little later this morning, but at one point it kind of went like this. So they go through the prepared questions. I'm sorry, they go through the questions from the panel. There were panelists. Okay. And after they go through and I'm not sure I agreed with the way this debate ran. They go through the panelists, and then as people came into the Capitol Theater, they could write down a question. Number one, some people gave their name, other people did not give their name. I would have required, personally, I hate to be an armchair quarterback here, but I would have required, you have to give your name no matter what. If you're going to ask a question, you have to be willing to put your name out there, right? That's just my feeling. Yeah. And because a lot of these questions from the public are going to be gotcha questions. That's my take on both sides. Because you have people in the audience, the only ones that are going to really go to this thing for the most part are her supporters and his supporters. And then you'll have a few others. But there were questions. One of the questions was of Jeff Lanigan, and it said, do you feel you should live in, pay taxes and own property, and your kids should go to school in the city of Rome if you're going to run for mayor? Now, this is brought up because Lanigan lives out at the lake, and although he says now he believes, now I guess he has a property in Rome. It may be his mother's property or something like that they now own, and they're planning to move into the city or have moved into the city, whatever the story may be. Anyway, somebody asked the question, and he kind of laughed at the question and said, who's that directed at? Well, clearly it's God. The question's directed at him, right? So he answers the question and said, I follow the rules. On the day that I am sworn in, I have to become or be a resident of Rome. But we live here. We decided to move here. So I believe it's important to follow the rules. So then, and now it'll be interesting. I'd like to know, and I'll play the audio for you. I want your take on this, Jeff, because I kind of wonder how people react to these things. So then Mayor Izzo had the chance to speak on the issue, and she said, I do think it's important to live here, and I do feel that it's a bit disingenuous when you decided not to live. You live just outside the city, so you didn't have to pay city taxes. You live out at the lake. I've invested my entire life with business and commercial property and personal property here in Rome, and you moved out. You abandoned us. And then Lanigan, who it was not his time to talk, but he did, because it's what kind of makes these debates interesting. Lanigan said, I moved out because of you. Ooh. And the crowd went, ooh. And then, his supporters clapped, her supporters jeered. And then Jackie went on to try to go forward, but there were people that were kind of yelling at her or him, I don't know, but interrupting the whole thing. And this went on for about a minute or two. So the question is, you did that, ooh. So here's my take on that. I felt like that was maybe the meanest moment of the entire debate.
Okay. And
so how do you react? My general take is that people who support him loved it. They're high-fiving each other. They're saying, that's a gotcha moment. I love it. Zing. But the people who support her say, I can't believe he was so disrespectful. That's mean. And by the way, he broke the rule. He talked when he wasn't supposed to talk. So that is what you'd expect, right? People who support her are going to say that was bad. People who support him are going to love it. The question is, of the undecided voter and the independent voter, and by the way, the Democrats who have no candidate in this race, who have to make a choice, how do you take that? And my take is, you being that voter, and who I think that voter is, I feel like they become a bit offended by that. They're not the high fivers. They're like, wow, that's uncalled for.
Yeah,
it would sound like this. That's uncalled for. Something like that.
Right, and maybe some people might have the opinion that it's not becoming of a mayor, right? That type of disrespect or back talk.
I guess we'll find out in 2 weeks when people vote. But that's what these debates are for. But it will be very interesting to see how people react to that moment if they heard it. And I think it was one of the more interesting moments of the debate.
Is that true, though? See, that's the interesting thing. Did he live in the city of Rome?
I believe maybe when he was a police officer, and then you have to ask yourself: did you really move out of the city because of the mayor? Right. I mean, I think
it's a good zinger. That's a good one-liner. But first of all, is it true? And second of all, what was it? I mean, I don't believe Jackie's raised taxes in 7 years, so it wasn't like, the taxes have gotten out of control. What was the reason that it got so bad that you had to relocate?
Well, one might say crime, but the crime issue, I mean, certainly Rome is better off than Utica by far when it comes to crime. And maybe you move out of city life because you don't want to. But the crime thing is a problem all over New York, especially with the bail reform. So is that more of a zinger than it is an honest answer? And how do people react to it? I want my mayor to be able to step up, and I would say that's more of a Donald Trump moment, right?
I completely agree.
Yeah, Donald Trump, that's what Trump would. And by the way, I God rest her soul, but had a mother-in-law who would was probably close to moving to Canada because she loathed Donald Trump so much. So there are, I think that does exist in the world. But I do not believe in this case that was a fair answer in terms of that's why we moved, right? I can't imagine they moved because of this mayor. And at a time when you really look around Rome, to be honest, the city is moving like it hasn't moved in the last 50 years. There's cranes over Utica. There's cranes over Rome. There's progress downtown in both cities. For the first time, we've experienced it in years and years. In fact, one of the questions, and both candidates answered to it, how will you handle if things continue to go in this direction? The area is rebounding. How will you handle the increased population? And both of the candidates answered that as if it was fact, because it is fact, which means that the city of Rome is progressing, is moving forward. I found that very interesting also in the debate. Anyway, we'll reach out to both candidates, give them a chance to talk on the air. I will tell you, Mr. Lanigan has refused our invites over and over. And to be fair,
I'll try again, though.
And to be fair, I do the media for Jackie Izzo. I have since she first ran. However, he's been on the air once with us. I thought it was an extremely fair interview, and there were no big gotcha moments from us.
I could be wrong. He
I don't get it.
Twice.
It might have been twice. Yeah.
Bill, that's how they get us.
So the idea is,
I don't know if they think that they don't come out, we won't talk about
We're going to hurt them. We're going to hurt them by not coming on the show. That was a Jim Brock movement. Lanigan has done it now. Hennessy won't come on the air. It seems like this whole group of Constitutional Caucus people, Claudia Tenney was a part of that for a little while and wouldn't come on the air because he's not fair. I think we've been more than fair. But you leave us to sit here and talk about you without you giving a response. And, okay, if that's how you want it. Jackie Izzo will come on at any time. And I give credit to the three Utica candidates, 4 of them, by the way. each of them are willing to come on at any time and talk, and we appreciate that as well.
Absolutely, and if I can just say, it's worth noting that while some folks think that hurts us, I can just say while we might not be well-liked, we're not running for election, Bill.
That is true. That is true.
They've got to get their message out.
That is true. We're not the ones running for election. Well, you are. You're running for ratings. That's all you care about is ratings. Yeah, it doesn't really work that way, but you can feel like it does. Anyway, so there you go. That's those are the two issues, the big ones, and then of course you have Hennessy running against County Executive Paceni, and that's another record. Man, I wouldn't want to be running against. When you look at where Oneida County is now and where it was 10 years ago or whenever Paceni, really just 10 years ago, look at the last 10 years, it's unbelievable the progress that has been made, and it's hard to fight that. So, but I know that that's what Mike Hennessy is fighting. I do wish he'd come on the air with us, but apparently I'm not fair. And oh, by the way, I do the TV and radio commercials for Tony Paceni as well. But I feel, Jeff, and you can talk about this, we're always up front with that. And
Yes.
and I do a lot of commercials for a lot of different people, whether they're political or just whatever. But I almost feel that it's a disadvantage to the person I'm working for, because I feel like I kind of hand things over to you a little more than me, because I don't want to have that gotcha moment and somebody to say, well, you did that because you're working for them. So I sometimes feel it works to their advantage, but they don't see it that way. It's much better to whine and say it's not fair, they're treating me poorly, vote for me, than it is I stood up and I answered the questions. I'm transparent and I'll go anywhere, just like the 3 Utica mayoral candidates have done, and make it 4, including the write-in candidate. All right. Okay, one of those candidates will be Utica mayoral candidate Mike Galimi. His opponent is saying that he did not want this hospital to go downtown. He says that's not true. There are some interviews out there we can listen to, talk with him about. He'll be coming up into our makeshift studio over at the hospital in a little while this morning. Also, Jeff, and this is the only other thing to do without that it's not about the hospital. Obviously, Ryan Nobles from NBC, who, by the way, did the Today Show a couple of times this week. And also Darlene and Bob will speak to both of them on the hospital. But at 7:40, we have an amazing interview. This is coming to on November 3rd. It's coming to Harts Hill Inn. She is coming to Harts Hill Inn, and talk about this story.
Yes. So her name's Alicia Kozak is what she goes by now. She has a long, I believe, Polish
Kozakowicz.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But she's actually, I guess for the purpose of public appearances and things like that,
Kozak.
she's actually shortened it.
Okay.
She is a child abduction survivor, and as you mentioned, she is coming to the area on November 3rd to speak at Harts Hill Inn. This is one of the most disgusting and horrific stories, I think, that I'm aware of, and I try to stay away from this stuff because, as I've said before, it just makes me angry, and I pace around and I want to punch holes in the wall. But apparently she was duped into thinking someone she was chatting with online was a person her age. She was underage. She was a teenager.
Okay.
And it was actually an adult male who met up with her, abducted her, and really did those horrible, horrific things that we all fear. And it was, I'll say, a stroke of luck, and also, I guess I'll say a perversion, because this individual was streaming some of the horrible things that
tortured.
he was doing.
Yeah.
Yes, and somebody who I don't know if they turned this on to watch it because they were interested in it or came across it innocently, saw the young girl,
recognized,
and said, "Oh my gosh, I just saw her face on a poster."
Yeah.
Contacted the FBI, and ultimately it led to her rescue. So
that's coming up.
Does these speaking engagements, etc.
To help give people the tools to help themselves. So we'll get to that coming up in the 7 o'clock hour as well.
This is like every parent. If you have a parent, if you have a child underage, it's like your worst fear nouadays.
We'll take a quick break. Coming up, we'll hear some of the Katie Aiello interview where she makes charges on anti-hospital behavior, from what she says, from Mike Galimi. We'll have Mike answer that in studio over at the hospital coming up, and I'll join Jeff in just a little bit. We'll hear from that interview with Katie Aiello coming right up at WIBX.
John and Marie heard about
Finding
Mattress
great
Express's newest promotion, where you simply stop in, perform a simple comfort test, and get a prepaid $25 Visa card. They went to Mattress Express's location in New Hartford on Commercial Drive next to Pet Supplies Plus. They tried Tempur-Pedic. They tried Stearns & Foster. They tried the 9 different purple mattresses. They loved them all. They settled on the Q9 King number bed by Instant Comfort in a flex head. John liked his side firm. We set it to 40, elevated his head and feet, said he'd never been more comfortable. Marie liked her side softer. She was an 18. What a difference. Elevated her head a little higher, her feet a little less. They said it was like they were each in their own custom bed. They qualified and signed up for the 5 years, no interest, no money down, did not give us a nickel up front. They, for their luxury rewards, selected a 75-inch flat screen TV. Hurry, this is a limited time offer. Come to any Mattress Express, perform a simple comfort test, and get a $25 prepaid Visa card.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And did we mention it's aluminum free? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 500 and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack that comes with a solid stick, cream tube, free product of your choice, and ships free with code 500. LumeDeodorant.com, code 500 for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. Love it or return it for free. That's LumeDeodorant.com, code 500.
In studio right now, it's been a while. Katie Aiello, good morning.
Good morning. I didn't get to hear a segment, but now I'm on the edge of my seat listening to your recap, so I'll have to go back and listen.
Every segment posts on YouTube at 9 a.m. The minute we shut it off, it goes live. So,
cool.
Okay, so are we getting involved in the mayor's race here?
I suppose so, yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
All right. So
hang on, time out. I have to do this. You haven't been on since the incident, and I have to ask you, whatever your answer is your answer, but I have to ask you, there was an incident involving you and my understanding, a former city employee. You're still the councilwoman. There was no action taken by the council. What is your position here?
Right. There was no action because it was nothing city related, and whatever censure that they tried using didn't even go anywhere. So that's...
Will you say what the incident was?
And were there no charges pressed?
No charges pressed. No, nothing. That's why I'm confused how it got blown up, I guess, everywhere else, and is what it is, and I figured it would come up here, so
all right.
All good. Sorry, it's not that exciting, but
I think it is, but go ahead. We'll move on.
Okay.
You're here in regards to the mayor's race, and if I'm correct, you're a Democrat. You're supporting Celeste Friend.
I am.
Okay, and I know the issue. You sent information to me yesterday in regards to Mike Galimi. Mike, who came on last week and vehemently said he was never against the hospital, but he was always for asking questions, and he felt, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but felt that in many cases there were businesses that weren't informed, people were in the dark. He was asking those questions because he felt there needed to be answers to those questions. But he says he was never against the hospital going downtown.
Right. And then I heard Celeste speak last week, and then I heard Mike call in, and I figured he would have rebuttals. I was just shocked to hear that he seemed offended by the fact that he was against the hospital. And that was, he was talking about a Facebook video that he posted, but I was the whole time thinking about, well, what about the Luke Riddell video, where he's very explicit of why he's against it. And it's not just because of the businesses, but he seems to have deeper beliefs. You know, he's against eminent domain. He's against what these New York State funded projects do in general, which fine, have different policies. But I think you just have to own it either way.
So in the interview with the high school kid, Luke, you're saying that he came out and said he was not for the hospital going downtown?
Right. And that's kind of just what I clipped back and forth. The very first question is, do you support the hospital going downtown? Michael Leamy says, at this point, I would have to say no. This was in April 2019.
Okay.
And it just expands from there. It's a 30-minute interview if you want to watch the full thing.
And you sent me this morning, this is from May of 2017, back when the OD used to run a newspaper. It says, Mike Galimi is not in favor of building a new hospital downtown. The Mohawk Valley Health System is eyeing properties in the neighborhood of Oriskany, Columbia, and State Streets. I mean, how long ago was this, right, where they're still trying to pick a location?
I know.
Galimi, however, said the city would lose out to property tax exemptions, while Utica small business economy would better be served by keeping the present neighborhood uncongested. They're grossly underestimating the potential of that area.
I just don't understand how these things... Here we are in another issue where candidate says, I never said that, but then we find evidence where candidate, when he wasn't a candidate, absolutely said that.
Yeah.
And I think my biggest
Why not just say, you know what, at the time I was against it because of A, B, and C. I was against it, but I have come around, and you know what? It's here now anyway. It doesn't matter. I mean, you're better off with an answer like that than saying she's lying. This is not true. I have never been against the hospital. If there are stories out there where he is saying that he is.
Right. And being somebody who personally I was very much, I think, recognized on the no side from 2017,
Right.
18, 19 on. And I liked Galimi because I thought he was also on that side. And I think I've learned a lot from the city and investments. And just, I think as a mayor, we need to know what their stance is on public investment. What are they willing to work with the state on and not, and where they think our city is at, because I think some people think we're at a really good place, and overall we are, but we're so far from where we can and should be.
Yeah.
And that's where I guess I'm more concerned of why we're even debating where he stands 7 years later, and we need somebody who's going to be very clear. You have to communicate, and also my biggest thing is you have to be like a leader needs to own their positions. Without that ownership and responsibility, you can't have the accountability. And I think that lack of communication and accountability is, unfortunately, probably my biggest, what I liked the least about the last administration. And I think that's what's lacking and what we need going forward.
You mean the current administration?
Oh, yeah. I'm already into next year in my mind.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Who was mayor before Paul Mary? Was it George Washington? I'm trying to think. It goes back so many years.
It was Dave Raffaello, right?
It was Dave Raffaello. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, some would say that Celeste has been, at the least, a bit wishy-washy when it comes to complete streets. What she would do with complete streets, although I think she has said, she's not said she'd be against it if it would be. Maybe a better issue is the migrant issue.
Yeah, okay.
She has said.
Discover, this is
that
Danny. Hi, it's Jen Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great. But with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Are you hungry? 'Cause everyone left after the asparagus sorbet.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We push what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
Republicans have yet another new nominee for House Speaker. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Democracy is messy sometimes, but it is our system.
Congressman Mike Johnson insists that now Republicans are united around him, and there could be a vote today on the House floor. Johnson's the fourth GOP nominee overall, and as Fox's Kevin Cork reports, he was the second one yesterday alone.
The vote for Johnson came on a day that saw the House GOP elect Minnesota's Tom Emmer as Speaker nominee, only for him to drop out hours later amid stiff resistance from the right flank of the conference and a major rebuke from former President Donald Trump.
Yeah, the former president wrote on Truth Social he would not support Emmer, calling him a globalist rhino, which is short for Republican in name only. Israel's taken out some militants in the West Bank while also coming under attack again from Lebanon as the airstrikes continue in Gaza, 19 days after the Hamas terror attack.
Many of these strikes trying to take out the infrastructure that could be used to target Israeli soldiers when they ultimately enter the Gaza Strip.
Fox's Trey Yingst on the border.
The death toll inside the Strip is rapidly rising. Save the Children says more than 2,000 children have been killed since this conflict erupted.
Now, the U.S. says pauses in fighting must be considered to get more aid to civilians caught in the crossfire.
President Biden is not satisfied with the pace of medicine, water, and food making it to fleeing Palestinians in Gaza. Not fast enough, the president said, leaving a reception in the East Room.
Fox's Jared Halpern. Tourists in the Acapulco area of Mexico in shelters as Hurricane Otis hits. It came ashore as a Category 5 monster. It's weakened a bit now with 130-mile-an-hour winds. In the baseball playoffs,
the Arizona Diamondbacks are headed to the World Series. The Diamondbacks have won the National League pennant.
They beat the Phillies in Philadelphia on TBS 4-2 in a Game 7. Arizona will play the Texas Rangers in the World Series Game 1 Friday night. America's listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at gawon'twait.com. That's gawon'twait.com.
Someone else may be ready to testify against former President Trump in the Georgia election interference case. His ex-lawyer, Jenna Ellis, pleaded guilty to aiding and abetting false statements, getting 5 years probation, and agreeing to cooperate against 14 others indicted. She is the fourth to take a plea deal in Georgia. And while she was in court there, the former president was in court in New York, facing off against another ex-lawyer turned enemy.
Michael Cohen testified for the prosecution Tuesday in the New York State Attorney General's lawsuit, alleging Mr. Trump artificially inflated the values of his properties for tax benefits. Cohen saying on the stand that, quote, I was tasked by Mr. Trump to increase the total assets based upon a number that he arbitrarily elected. The former president attacked Cohen's credibility due to his conviction for tax evasion.
He's a disgraced felon, and that's the way it's coming out, and I think you all see that.
The former president also criticizing New York Attorney General Letitia James.
But this trial is hurting New York very, very much because they're seeing that an attorney general who's corrupt can bring a case.
President Trump says he will attend court again today. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Of course, the former president remains the frontrunner by far in the Republican White House race. On the Democratic side, President Biden is skipping the New Hampshire primary.
A campaign spokeswoman says the president is obligated to comply with rules adopted at his behest by the Democratic National Committee, making South Carolina the first primary for the party, jumping the Granite State.
That's Fox's Tom Rigotti on Wall Street. Stock futures are mixed before today's trading. The NBA is back.
In there fighting, getting tangled up. Jokic with a three. His second.
Nikola Jokic led Denver to an opening night win on TNT with a triple-double, 29 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists as the defending champion Nuggets beat the LA Lakers 119-107. Phoenix topped Golden State 108-104. I'm Dave Anthony, and this is Fox News.
Good morning. We have cloudy skies, some raindrops out there, 51 degrees. WIBX News Time is 7:05. This news update is brought to you by the new destination Kia of Utica, located on Commercial Drive in Yorkville. Well, a local man who police say was changing clothes while running from cops was still apprehended by New Hartford police and now faces felony-level charges. Police say the 18-year-old Utica man was suspected of stealing about $1,200 worth of merchandise from the Lowe's in New Hartford. Loss prevention officers said they tried to stop on Hello Del Rio, but he ran off on foot toward the New Hartford American Legion. When cops responded, they say Del Rio ran off again, attempting to hide behind businesses along Clinton Street and Commercial Drive. They also say the alleged thief went so far as to change clothes while trying to get away in an effort to disguise himself. However, Del Rio was captured and then positively identified as the suspect in the Lowe's incident. He faces charges of fourth-degree grand larceny, a Class E-level felony. New Hartford police say Del Rio is the suspect in a separate larceny from Best Buy in Consumer Square. The teen was issued an appearance ticket and is due back in New Hartford Town Court at a future date. In the city of Syracuse, a teenager pleading guilty for his role in the murder of an 11-year-old Syracuse girl earlier this year. Prosecutors say 16-year-old Dexys Bridges admitted to opening fire on the January night when Brexley Torres Ortiz was killed. As part of the plea agreement, Bridges is looking at a minimum sentence of 20 years to life in prison. His next scheduled court appearance is set for mid-December. New York State joining dozens of states across the country in taking legal action against Meta. The social media company, which oversees Facebook and Instagram, is facing a federal lawsuit. Meta is accused of hurting the mental health of young people and contributing to the youth mental health crisis. State Attorney General Letitia James claims that Meta designs its platform to have features that make children addicted while lowering their self-esteem. The company says it's working to provide a safer environment for teenagers. And the New York State DMV is making it easier for you to apply for a real ID. The agency says the availability of an online pre-screening tool for those IDs has now been expanded. The goal is to make sure that people have applications that are accurate before they go to their closest DMV office and file the appropriate paperwork. The DMV is urging residents to apply for a real ID now so they don't have to worry about missing the May 2025 deadline, which requires that you have one. WIBX News Time is 7:08. Your Weather Center forecast comes to you from Eyewitness News.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint in the WIBX Weather Center. Today, more clouds than sunshine, warmer with a brief spotty sprinkle, but mainly dry weather, a high of 72. Tonight, mostly cloudy, mild, near 55. And tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy, small risk for a spotty sprinkle or brief shower, but mainly dry again, still very mild, a high near 70. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Right now, we have cloudy skies, some raindrops, 51 degrees. WIBX News Time is 7:08. All right, good morning in sports. We've got baseball, football, basketball, and hockey. We begin with the baseball last night. The Diamondbacks headed back to the World Series. They defeated the Phillies 4-2 in Game 7 last night of the NLCS at Citizens Bank Ballpark. Rookie Corbin Carroll led the charge with 3 hits and 2 RBI. Gabriel Moreno and Christian Walker also plated runs for the Diamondbacks, who are headed back to their first World Series since 2001. Alec Boehm homered for the Phillies, but as a team, they were just 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position last night. Game 1 of the Fall Classic is Friday night in Arlington, Texas. Padres manager, former Padres manager Bob Melvin has been hired away by the San Francisco Giants. ESPN says Melvin is returning to his native San Francisco area to manage the Giants after 2 seasons in San Diego. Melvin helped lead the Padres to the NLCS last year, but the team missed the playoffs this season with reports of disagreements between Melvin and the Padres GM. San Francisco requested and was granted permission to interview Melvin last weekend, and obviously it went well. The NBA season kicked off last night. Nikola Jokic posted a triple-double. The defending champion Nuggets took down the Lakers 119-107 in Denver. Jamal Murray chipped in 21 points for the Nuggets, which unveiled a championship banner before the game. LeBron James pacing the Lakers with 21 points. Anthony Davis finished with 17 and 8 rebounds. Elsewhere, the Suns fended off the Warriors 108-104 in San Francisco. Devin Booker poured in 32 points. Kevin Durant had 18 and 10 rebounds in his debut for the Phoenix Suns. Football, the NFL reducing the suspension of Broncos safety Kareem Jackson. The league announced the suspension was reduced from 4 games to 2 after Jackson appealed the violation of the league's unnecessary roughness rules. He had been ejected from the Broncos' win over Green Bay on Sunday after delivering a big hit to Packers tight end Luke Musgrave in the fourth quarter. It was the second time this season that Jackson was ejected for an illegal hit. Detroit Lions veteran wide receiver Marvin Jones Jr. is stepping away from the game for a while. He announced on social media he's taking a step back from his spot on the team to tend to family matters, that is. Some hockey last night. The Rangers earning back-to-back victories to begin their 5-game road trip. The Blue Shirts came from behind to beat the Flames 3-1 in Calgary. The Islanders losing streak now up to 3 games after they lost 7-4 to the Colorado Avalanche. We'll bounce back into basketball. The Knicks looking to make a major move in the Eastern Conference. They open their season tonight at MSG hosting the Boston Celtics. But the bigger story is there are reports the Knicks are trying to offer a big trade for reigning MVP Joel Embiid. The Knicks would be sending multiple first-round picks and a mix of players like Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, Evan Fournier, and Mitchell Robinson. We'll see if that trade comes to fruition. The Nets tip off their season tonight as well. Brooklyn will play host to the Cleveland Cavaliers at the Barclays Center. WIBX News Time, 7:11. A busy show coming up here, busy hour, I should say. We'll talk to some hospital officials. We'll talk to Mike Galimi about his position on the hospital and much more. And then that stunning story involving a child survivor of abduction and torture and the amazing story behind it. That guest, Alicia Kozak, will be coming to the area on November 3rd to speak to our community at Harts Hill Inn. We'll have details on that coming up as well. It's First News, Keeler in the Morning, WIBX.
Hello, I'm Joanne Moskal, Chief Operating Officer for Hospice and Palliative Care. At Hospice, we often hear that caregivers think of hospice as giving up, but what they are really doing is giving their loved one the opportunity to make the most of the time they have together. When a patient is appropriate for hospice, they've already been diagnosed with a terminal illness. You are not giving up on your loved one. Instead, you are increasing their care by compassionate nurses to ensure they remain comfortable throughout their disease. We want to know what is most important to you and what a good day looks like to the patient and to you. Together, we will design the care you want on your terms. We often hear, we wish we had called hospice sooner.
Hospice and Palliative Care, servicing Oneida, Herkimer, and Madison County. Middle Settlement Road, New Hartford, 315-735-6484, or visit us at hospicecareinc.org. Hospice and Palliative Care. When you need us most.
John and Marie heard about Mattress Express's newest promotion where you simply stop in, perform a simple comfort test, and get a prepaid $25 Visa card. They went to Mattress Express's location in New Hartford on Commercial Drive next to Pet Supplies Plus. They tried Tempur-Pedic. They tried Stearns & Foster. They tried the 9 different purple mattresses. They loved them all. They settled on the Q9 King number bed by Instant Comfort in a flex head. John liked his side firm. We set it to 40, elevated his head and feet, said he'd never been more comfortable. Marie liked her side softer. She was an 18. What a difference. Elevated her head a little higher, her feet a little less. They said it was like they were each in their own custom bed. They qualified and signed up for the 5 years, no interest, no money down, did not give us a nickel up front. They, for their luxury rewards, selected a 75-inch flat screen TV. Hurry, this is a limited time offer. Come to any Mattress Express, perform a simple comfort test, and get a $25 prepaid Visa card.
Ready for a smoother and safer ride? Head to Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, your trusted tire experts. At Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, you'll get expert advice from their staff, and it doesn't end there. Now through October 31st, buy 4 eligible Bridgestone tires and get up to $100 back on a Bridgestone Visa prepaid card. For details, visit tallmanstire.com. Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Get the tires you and your vehicle deserve at the best prices guaranteed. From Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Online at tallmanstire.com.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99. Save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
He called it a historic budget. Historic because Piceni hasn't raised the Oneida County tax rate in 11 years. Michael Hennessy.
I can play as many as you want.
In his 17 years in office, Piceni never lowered the tax rate. And his historic budget doesn't raise the tax rates because he can't. Oneida County is operating at the maximum allowable sales tax rate by New York state law. Now you can make a historic difference. Vote Michael Hennessy, the true independent candidate that can stop the historic spending. The historic spending that goes up year after year after year. It's what generational politicians always seem to do. Spend more of your money. Be a historic hero. Vote Michael Hennessy for county executive.
I'm Michael Hennessy, asking you to make the difference. Vote Michael Hennessy, November 7th. Thank you.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Discover, this is Danny.
Hi, it's Jen Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great. But with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Are you hungry? 'Cause everyone left after the asparagus sorbet.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashbackdebit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Income may be subject to state, local, or alternative minimum tax. Did you know that municipal bonds are a way for investors to support civil projects while earning federally tax-free income? The Erie Canal, which led to the expansion of the United States into the Midwest in the 1800s, was financed with municipal bonds. Are you looking to bridge the gap between the income of your working years and the income needed in retirement? Municipal bonds might provide the solution you're looking for. Henyon & Walsh is a leading specialist in tax-free municipal bonds and has provided investors with quality service and personal attention since 1990. Call now to receive their informative bond guide absolutely free. Dial 1-800-761-9761 to learn how to earn retirement income while keeping your taxes at bay. Just dial 1-800-761-9761 for a copy of their informative bond guide for free. No cost, no obligation. 1-800-761-9761. Henyon & Walsh Inc., member of FINRA and SIPC.
Ready for a smoother and safer ride? Head to Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, your trusted tire experts. At Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, you'll get expert advice from their staff,
right
and it doesn't end there. Now through October 31st, buy 4 eligible Bridgestone tires and get up to $100 back on a Bridgestone Visa prepaid card. For details, visit tallmanstire.com. Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Get the tires you and your vehicle deserve at the best prices guaranteed. From Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Online at tallmanstire.com.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Okay, and here we are live at the Wynn Hospital. I cannot believe this is real.
I know,
after all of this.
So much talk about it.
Especially with Mike Galimi so against this project. It's just unbelievable that we're actually here. Good morning, Mike.
And he's actually here.
I'm smiling because I like your tone.
Well, listen. We just heard a little from Katie Aiello, did we?
Yes.
Today?
No,
she's on the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and she's basically saying, no, if you look at the interview, and there's also a story in the OD that say that you are, which I think this is, at this point, we're standing inside the lobby of the hospital.
Yes.
Which opens on Sunday.
Yes.
I think at this point it is irrelevant, but I think the issue is that you're saying that you were never against, and the interviews do feel like you were against it.
All right, so
what do you say to that?
The first thing I want to say is
it wrong to say, listen, I've evolved. I did my due diligence, and I have evolved.
I think that's wrong as well.
Okay.
Before we get into the details of Katie's cut-up video, what I want to say is this.
And just keep in mind, though, Manaski watched the entire
that's
the
perfectly
video
fine
in
with
its
me.
entirety.
I'm happy with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I've watched it 100 times as well.
Okay.
I wanted to be standing here today talking about the monumental move that's coming on Sunday.
Yes.
I wanted to be talking about the fact that this community, myself included, spent the better part of 8 years working together towards this point. And that's genuinely what I did since we received the $300 million grant in this region for this hospital.
Yeah.
Every single action, every single word. And when we get into it, I can explain, even though timetables seem to not matter anymore with how people are splicing videos together. But 2019, I can explain perfectly. And it's why I'm going to say I didn't necessarily evolve. But
are you
we're
referencing
here.
It's amazing.
So let's get into it.
Well, hold on. It's amazing
right?
that we're talking about a high school kid's YouTube channel, and
right.
it was an interview you did with him, and it still is out there.
Well, it's going to stay out there forever, right?
It will.
Yes.
And now, to be fair, you, Manaski, you listened to the whole thing. What was your take on it?
Yeah, so I thought Mike raised a lot of the concerns, in fact, that I also had when this project started about displacing businesses. Was a lot of study put into could an expansion be happening at St. Luke's, or were there other locations? I think those were a lot of relevant concerns. I will say, though, Mike, being honest with you, I wouldn't say you were in the no hospital downtown camp, but you were not in the pro hospital downtown camp.
No. Don't say pro hospital. Don't say no hospital, because I've always been working towards where we're standing here today.
I love by Hasbro mincing words.
Well, it's not mincing. It's not mincing
board
words.
game.
It's not mincing words.
Okay.
So
all right.
here's the thing, right? We had a sighting study. Let's go back all the way real quick. Let's go back. We had a sighting study. There was 3 prime sites during that sighting study. I participated wholeheartedly in that study through Seeker as a council president, making sure all the constituents had actual transparent access to the information the businesses actually were communicated with. The reason I did all those things was to make sure the site we chose would actually take advantage of the grant and make sure that we could be standing here today. Now, we're doing this interview right now instead of celebrating the monumental move that's coming in on Sunday with me on the radio, because an opponent, a political opponent, decided to recreate a 6-year-old debate that's already been decided for political gain. That's why we're here today. Now, the video she spoke about last week, I clearly responded to and made perfect sense out of. So I'd like to do the same right now based on the actual situation I was in 2019 as council president, based on the actual situation this project was in, the city was in, and all the other businesses were in. Because even the statement I made in that video, which, by the way, if you take that first sentence, which I'll read it, okay, I said, I guess at this point I'd have to say no. Okay, but we were referring to the current location with reference to the project at hand, the way it stood. So if you want to talk about those details, I can make a lot of sense out of it.
Okay, so, but what you just said there is, I guess at this point I'd have to say no. So if you go back and you look at that snapshot in time.
I don't have to go back.
We lived it.
Yeah.
You certainly weren't pro at that point.
I want to read.
Because when you say at this point, I have to say no.
I was absolutely pro this project. I was still participating in the sighting study. We were still participating in Seeker. I was still working as council president to actually work out the issues on the city side and with the businesses to make sure this could happen.
What is wrong? We're talking to Mike Galimi, mayoral candidate Utica. What is wrong with just saying what I knew then? I was against it, but as time went on, I evolved because many of the questions that I had were answered, and today I am 100% vehemently for it.
So,
what's wrong with saying that?
Here's why. Okay,
because what
you
you're
keep
doing,
using the word against, and I'm not dodging something.
But what I'm saying though is you're keeping the festering alive.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
This was 2019. There's no festering now. There was no
Okay.
festering 3 months after that interview.
Well, the conversation we're currently having is a festering conversation.
And who put us here? Did I?
Your opponent did.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you have more.
All right, thank you. So here's what was going on, okay? And I want to explain 3 key things surrounding that interview, okay? The first was in January, and this isn't festering. You want me to explain why that statement was made? I'm going to explain
Okay,
it.
all right.
Because we're here today celebrating this. We're in the lobby. It's beautiful.
No
People
doubt
should
about
come
it.
down here.
Yes.
All right. The MOA in January, okay, the con start date, the seeker results. Those are 3 key things that were going on. Businesses that actually still had not sold their properties yet. So the actual property that needed to be contiguous was not acquired yet. That was the state of the project then. Now, everything I was doing at that time was resolving those issues so that the site could be actually prepared at that time and we would not lose. My paranoia, okay, I don't call it paranoia, from when I participated in Seeker going all the way back to the beginning of this was that we wouldn't lose this project for our region, okay, but I had to represent the city. So, January, okay, in January, the start date for the construction was missed in the Certificate of Need. That was January 2019. We were sitting on an MOA, which exactly as I said, ended up falling completely apart. In 2019, we were sitting on an MOA for the parking garage funding that was required for this project to move forward. Required. Okay. The other thing that was going on is the seeker results were just released. Okay. Now, I'm the council president. I'm working with the mayor at this time. I had seeker input saying we don't actually have a plan to move the police maintenance facility or the police station. The response in Seeker a month prior, that was in the newspaper a month prior, was we're going to give the city till 2024 to figure out how to fund the relocation of that. I went to the mayor. I said, how are we going to do this? I don't know. So at that point in time, when I was asked, are you I can't remember how Luke phrased it, but my words, I had to say, I guess at this point, I'd have to say no.
Right.
And the reason for that is because I wanted to, and I wasn't waiting for answers. I was working with the businesses, working with the hospital to make sure this could happen.
So, and by the way, that maintenance garage still exists right out there. It would be nice if this was, if you were out on a Oriskany and you could look at the hospital from there. Why is that still there? Do you agree with the maintenance building still being there?
Answer carefully.
Right now, I absolutely do agree with it.
Well, there's no, it's there. So,
and in Seeker, part of Seeker was to actually point all these things out.
Do you feel the mayor got in the way of this project more than serving as a partner in the largest construction project in the history of Utica, the city?
I'd say his actions definitely created issues where there was uncertainty.
And would you also say that it cost MVHS and the county and the taxpayers money?
Yes.
Yeah.
And in direct response to Celeste saying if Mike Galimi was mayor, we wouldn't be standing here right now, that's completely wrong, because if Mike Galimi wasn't council president, a lot of these things wouldn't have actually come to light.
And then I'll ask you one more question. You mentioned about how the business owners along here were all in the dark. People weren't talking to them. Wouldn't it have been a great thing if in his city the mayor stepped up and met with every one of those businesses and worked to be able to keep those businesses here in the city of Utica, as opposed to moving to Schuyler? I understand that. But it should have been, that was the mayor's job, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And I saw that as council president, and what did I have to do? I had to say, we need transparency, we need communication. All the things my opponent's talking about.
I want to read one more quote.
And I provided it. Go for it.
This is from the Observer-Dispatch. And
what you got to give me the date, though. This was
do.
during a siting study when we were all asked to actually pick the site you would see more fit.
May 8th, 2017.
Oh, okay. All right. Siting study.
So that's even not 6 years ago.
Okay, here we go. The Mohawk Valley Health System is eyeing properties in the neighborhood of Oriskany, Columbia, and State Streets and Broadway for the site of an estimated $480 million hospital. Galimi, however, said the city would lose out to property tax exemptions, while Utica's small business economy would be better served by keeping the present neighborhood uncongested. They're grossly underestimating the potential of that area.
That's still true, but we chose this site, move forward, and once we chose this site, I helped actually secure the properties. I helped work with the businesses. I helped with all the communication, all the transparency. I made sure we could actually build this hospital.
And there's one more point. There's one more point that, and this was a fact that was thrown out, and I'll talk to Bob Schofield about it because he has this figure that when all said and done, and you add the medical facility and all that's happening. All said and done, this area generates more tax revenue for the city of Utica than it did with the existing businesses.
I would agree with that, and I remember those spreadsheets. And
that's shocking, right?
Part of the reason that the police...
And that defeats the argument that you're taking tax revenue away from the city of Utica.
Unless we have to build a new police station.
Oh, okay.
Okay, unless...
Well,
okay.
But,
now,
hang on, but if you ask
on.
the police chief... You need to build a new police station whether there's a hospital here or not.
But the current mayor has no plan. During Seeker, there was no plan.
I know.
We couldn't calculate those costs. And here's the other catch. MOA. At that time, we were splitting a parking garage. What did the mayor end up doing with that MOA?
Well, he went back on it. So
yes, he did.
Yeah.
And what am I doing right now? I'm not agreeing to go back on anything I said because I don't regret any of the actions. Because here's the thing. If I didn't represent those businesses, would Community Foundation have come forward and done the business assistant funds? If I wasn't working with the Corrigans at the time, after this interview, would they have actually ended up in June after the interview I did with Luke Radel agreeing to sell? And staying in the city, by the way.
Did they stay in the city? I thought they went to Schuyler.
No, that was long ago for their warehouse.
Okay.
They actually ended up putting their warehouse over on Beech Grove.
I didn't know that.
They stayed in the city. I did.
Nice.
Because I was working with them.
And Clementi's is over there.
Yes.
And, that would be that would have been a great role for the mayor.
Yes.
To be able to say, I'm gonna lead you to the promised
So let's
land.
talk about if Mike Galimi was mayor. Celeste Friend brought it up, right? If Mike Galimi was mayor, let's go back and make believe we have a time machine like Celeste wants.
Okay.
What I wanted to do
She's
with
coming at you hard.
I know, but it's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
I expect it.
All right.
They're running for mayor.
That's true.
It's all right.
Okay.
So let's talk about if I was mayor because this is important. Because what if we do another project like this? Okay.
That would be wonderful.
Businesses. Keeping people downtown, critical mass, building from our core. I did not understand why our administration was not working with the businesses, working with MVHS, working with ESD, working with all of the state officials that wanted to make this the greatest project in 75 years.
Yeah.
And taking all of those businesses. And what we could be sitting with right now, since we're playing Time Machine, is a completely populated hotel street in Bag Square. Metzler Printer maybe wouldn't have had to go out of business. Wilcor maybe could have stayed downtown within walking distance of the hotels that they needed for all their conferences. We had actual opportunities that I was attempting to still obtain for this community that others just wanted to blindly
ignore. You feel would have been done had you been
had I been mayor.
Okay.
And that's how I want to lead moving forward. You include all the stakeholders and you can actually be better than where we are.
What will you say when Celeste Friend, your opponent, says, and maybe Bob Cardillo says you were clearly against it, and now you're talking around it, and you're not telling the truth? How will you respond to that? Because that's what they're going to say.
Of course. And I am telling the truth. It's been in like hundreds of newspaper articles. You could see, if you look at what I was saying, how I had to represent the actual city when the project was in motion, that everything is accurate. I am telling the absolute truth in every single piece of maintained integrity, and that's part of the reason we're standing here today. Furthermore, what I want to say to Celeste is every single thing she's done, whether it was Stewart's, whether it was Complete Streets, whether it's what she just did to us, not just me, but us, with the grand opening of this hospital coming on Sunday, she always chooses to divide. And then Katie Aiello, the one who snipped all those things back together with video from now and one 5-word clip from a while ago. Same thing. There's a common theme here. What did I do during the hospital project? I actually provided transparency and communication for the businesses that were going to be displaced. What did they not do during the Complete Streets debate? They didn't talk to the businesses. Okay, what did Celeste do during the Stewart situation? Rather than providing complete, accurate, fact-based transparency, she decided to talk about spot zoning. even though she knew, because she's the one who passed the zoning code and voted on it, that it wasn't spot zoning. What I'm telling people now is if they want a mayor who's going to lead and be direct and honest with people and work towards a project, but look hard questions in the mouth and the eyes and say, we have to sort this out so we don't fail, which is what I was doing during the entire hospital project, making sure we didn't fail, then you need to elect Mike Galimi. That's what I would say.
All right. And I want to say before it will come out way afterwards, and I don't want anybody to think anything. I don't want you to think anything. Celeste Friend's campaign is using my buyer again and running it to my buyer.
And you know what I do with that?
So it's going to show up. But remember, I am telling you, I have zero to do with any of her campaign or any of her
someone
stuff.
Who's booked ads before for my own campaign.
You know what's happening.
Yeah. No one should be going after anyone for buyers showing up.
But as my wife says, you got a child in college. You got to do what you got to do.
See, that 15%
but I didn't even do that.
Is 15%.
So, it doesn't work out that way because I have a buyer and it goes to him. So, however, I want to make sure, full disclosure, I find this to be a very interesting race. This is going to be an interesting. By the way, early voting begins on Saturday. This is going to be a very interesting race to be watching in Utica. So.
But,
all right.
Can I close with something?
You can close.
So for the past 8 years as council president, I've been doing everything I can to bring people together, to unite around collaboration so we could work together. Okay. My opponent, Celeste Friend, hasn't been doing that. That's what people need to think about. People need to think about the actions, the words, the things we're doing. Do we want to elect a mayor who preaches equality and seeks to divide? Or do we want to elect a mayor that actually has been proving to put people in a room and make sure we're standing in a hospital like this today?
All right, Mike Galimi.
Thank you,
Running
Mike.
for mayor. Thank you. Stay there because we're going to get a photo. We'll break. Coming up, Dr. Kent Hall, right?
Yes.
The
ED doctor, Dr. Avi, and I should clarify that's the emergency department.
Okay. All right. Good. Because
I don't know
I'm
what
at
you might have
age
been
where
thinking.
that makes me a little nervous.
Mincing words are we?
All right, we got a break. We'll come back. We are at Wynn Hospital. Its opening happens this weekend. Can you believe it? And I have to say the place is beautiful and so different than we first did our tour, and there was like dirt here and concrete and studs, and that was me and Jeff walking through, but studs. Yeah. All right, got a break. We'll come back at WIBX.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres? In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. And now try Babbel for free by texting WORLD to 64,000. Text WORLD to 64,000. That's WORLD to 64,000.
If you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music,
This is Mommy's jam.
then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This Saturday, the Rome Capitol Theater presents The Invisible Man double feature with a screening of two classics. The Invisible Man, released in 1933, is regarded as one of the classics of the genre, and Abbott and Costello meets The Invisible Man is hilarious. Don't miss The Invisible Man double feature this Saturday at the Rome Capitol Theater. For tickets and more information, visit www.romecapital.com.
Hi, it's James.
And Megan.
From the all-new Destination Kia of Utica.
And during our grand opening sales event, we have smoking deals on new Kias.
That's right. We were just able to get a truckload of new 2023 Kia Sportage LX all-wheel drive SUVs.
And you can lease one for just $388 per month for 36 months.
And that's with just $995 plus tax to its signing.
An all-wheel drive SUV that gets 32 miles per gallon highway?
Now that's kooky. It's just one example of the deals on over 250 new Kias, here and coming.
So go kooky for Kia at the all-new Destination Kia of Utica. Puppies and babies not included.
2023 Kia Sportage LX all-wheel drive in P7206025. MSRP $29,950. 36 months, 30,000 mile lease, 20 cents per mile over. $995 plus tax and fees due at inception. $0 security deposit. $650 acquisition fee included in payment structure. $400 disposition fee. 720 plus FICO score. Kia January to December 2022 sales report. EPA rating. Offer expires 10/31/2023.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
And we're back here at the Wynn Hospital, and we're in the lobby. Actually, we just got hired. We're going to be here permanently.
Yes.
And when people come in, we'll do like that little. Remember the NPR? The NPR, the two women that used to on SNL, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's interesting."
Yes.
Oh, look who's coming in now.
Very familiar with the skit. I can't remember the
That'll
name.
be us.
Yes.
Not the case. But in right now, and we're going to talk to Dr. Hall here in a second, and also the emergency department physician is Dr. Avi.
Yes.
And if you
Did I say
could
it right?
into the blue mic there. Good morning and congratulations, and tell us about yourself.
Hi, my name's Avi. I'm one of the emergency room doctors here. I've been here for about 8 years. I grew up in Oneida, New York. Went to high school there, went away for college, went away for med school, and then returned back about 8 years ago, and I've been here ever since.
Wow.
That's
So I know we've talked to Dr. Hall, and we'll bring him into this in a second about the new emergency department, which has the moniker ED, right?
Yes.
I
always grew up. Can we just quickly? I always grew up with it being ER. When did that change?
So because we used to be just a room. It was just a room in the back of the hospital.
Emergency
it was just
room.
a room.
Yeah.
I had old attendings of mine who would still remember that, and if we called it an ER, they would chew me a new one.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
so now
your
it's
department now, young man.
It is the emergency department. What's different about this from what you have seen, most likely, if you live here, at St. E's or at St. Luke's?
All right. So one of the worst things about emergency medicine is, quite frankly, is the waiting room.
Yeah.
Like, people wait. So we thought really long and hard, how can we take that waiting room time and actually use it to our advantage? So we wanted to make some changes here, and we actually thought all about this during the actual footprint and design of the emergency department, where let's flip this on its head. Why don't we just have a provider or a doctor or a PA meet you right as you hit the door, right at the same time the triage nurse is seeing you. Just have that provider meet you right there. All right? And a couple things can happen there. That doctor or nurse or that doctor or provider can order any labs that you need, any x-rays that you need, any CT scans that you need, anything that you need, and that workup can get started the second you hit the door. So even if you have to wait, that waiting room time is not wasted time.
Right. Something's going on. I saw it in, unfortunately, no one ever wants to go to the ER. I'm sorry, the ED.
Thank you.
But we were there in New York City at Langone, which I find you have an advantage here because you're building it that way. I don't think that facility was built and intended to do that. But when you walk in, they're doing all that stuff you're talking about, taking people's vitals right there in the waiting room. And then there's a waiting room into the ER where there are beds everywhere. It's so crowded. I have a feeling, though, that when this was built, it was built to avoid that. Can you talk about that?
Exactly. When we started this process 8 years ago, we were just given a blank white piece of paper and said, what if you would build your ideal emergency department, what would you do? Right? So we thought long and hard about how we would do that, and the design of the triage rooms and the front end of the emergency department is designed to reflect that. So we put the secondary waiting room right near those those triage areas, right where that PA meets you. There's a secondary waiting room. So that's what we want people to understand.
Yeah.
And that's why, thank you for having me on, because that's what we wanted, I think, people to understand is there's a provider that's going to meet you at the same time the triage nurse is going to see you, right? So you might end up going back in the waiting room, but there's stuff happening.
It's also very important, I think, because one of the complaints you've heard, and it's not here, it's everywhere, is I told the receptionist he was having heart problems, and she just said wait, and they waited and waited and we waited. This won't happen there. You'll have a doctor who will say, we have a case that takes priority.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the point, right? So that chest pain patient you're talking about, that'll get their EKG, that'll have their labs drawn right at the same time, and so while you're waiting, your labs are going. You get called for a chest x-ray. But more than that, there's patients that come here that may just need a single study, may just need an x-ray, may just need an ankle film. So what we decided to do was put that secondary waiting room close to by. But what if you just need a couple sutures?
Right.
Right? What if you just need a splint to your ankle? Well, we also decided to put those procedure rooms right behind that triage room. So you can easily go from one room to the other and then go. And go home when you're done. Try to reduce all that time for everyone. Now, if you need an acute room, we have those rooms ready to go, and those rooms are sort of in the back of the emergency department. What we spent a lot of time was, how do we make each one of those rooms universal so we can do anything that we need to do in any of those rooms? For any patient. Those rooms are designed to sort of like areas of the ER. We call them pods. They're A, B, C, and D. And those pods almost serve as sort of mini emergency departments within the same ER. So think of them as like 4 mini emergency departments in one. And they're designed to be modular in fashion. So as more and more patients come to the ER, and we can increase a pod, we can open up a pod. And then as the volume decreases, the pods can kind of shut down. But, one of the things that keeps me up at night is what if something like Vegas happens here?
Yeah.
Right? What if something that happens
about
here?
A mass shooting?
What if something like so? So the thing that's the thing that keeps me up at night. And so what we decide, like all these pods, if something were to happen, every single one of the pods could open up at the same time, and people could come in from home. Whoever's free could come in, and all of a sudden you have an entire emergency department that's completely open and able to handle something like that. God forbid it happened in Utica.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that keeps us up at night, right?
Right.
Something like that could happen.
Now, it would not be as easy to handle. Certainly would never be easy to handle. But imagine handling that with the previous with St. E's and St. Luke's.
Yeah, it'll be so difficult because now we have to think about where are these ambulances going. Not only do I have to think about which site is going on, now I have one site. I can figure out how to open it up completely. During COVID, I still remember having to organize a fleet of ambulances from nursing homes, bringing patients to all the ERs because nursing homes sometimes emptied out when they got got COVID. Yeah. We had to organize where do all these ambulances go. Now we have a single site. We can open up all the pods if we need to. We can call in extra doctors from home if we need to. And then the entire emergency department can go from like a small half ER to a full environment.
Wow. Okay.
And then back and forth.
Talking with Dr. Ami from the emergency department. Bring in Dr. Kent Hall. Doc, good morning.
Good morning.
Which one is he on, Jeff?
He should be
on this one. Okay. No.
4?
Is it 4?
You know what? Let me give
I don't think I have a mic on him, to be honest with you. We're just actually take the blue mic there. That would be good. Good morning, Dr. Hall. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. So this is really this clean slate, this empty canvas, this empty piece of paper. It allowed you to design this in a way which is going to be, I think, the biggest improvement that people will notice right away here.
Yeah, and Dr. Kimampati was talking about the emergency department, but the reality is the entire hospital was developed in that way. So if you look at the ICUs, which are on the 3rd floor, or you look at labor and delivery, which is on the 4th floor, they were all developed in that same way. blank slate. What is state of the art, and what is it that we need here in this community?
Yeah.
Based on the volume of patients that we take care of, the complexity of patients that we take care of, and everybody who works in those areas was involved in it, and then they were integrated together into a single building that we're sitting in now.
Wow.
I was just going to mention, if we didn't touch on it, 6 a.m. is that crossover point, right? 6 a.m. Sunday. If someone is having a heart attack, or you break a leg, or there's an incident, prior to 6 a.m. Sunday, you go to maybe St. Elizabeth.
Correct.
After 6 a.m. Sunday morning, you're going to come directly to the new Wynn Hospital in downtown Utica.
Correct. So the existing campuses, St. Elizabeth's and St. Luke's, the emergency departments will be open until 6 a.m. At 6 a.m., they will no longer take patients. If somebody does, we have contingency plans, so if somebody does walk up there thinking this is where I'm supposed to go,
it's not going to be a sign that says closed.
Then we will
Out
have
for lunch, yeah.
ambulances and things like that in place to be able to transport them here. At 6 a.m., this emergency department opens. Everybody who's in the emergency departments at St. Elizabeth's and St. Luke's will continue to be cared for until their disposition is decided, whether they're going to be discharged to home, and if they need to be admitted to the hospital, then they'll be put into an ambulance and transferred down here for admission here.
Okay.
So it's going to be a well-oiled machine. I'm sure that there may be one or two hiccups, but in general, I think that people will find that it is going to go pretty smoothly.
How do you? We've been obviously we started talking to you during COVID, and then during all of that, and every day, by the way, during COVID. And then as time has gone on, a lot of the questions about the hospital, it's kind of like that kid waiting for Christmas morning, right? You start thinking about it in August, and it's forever. But then all of a sudden it shows up. It's here. That's where you are right now with this place.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I'll tell you, there are some days when you say, maybe we could push Christmas off another week or two because we'd like to get some other things done.
Yeah.
But the reality is that this is it, and there's tons of excitement. I mean, just huge excitement. And, there's some anxiety because people are going to be moving into a new place. And, the last 2 months we've spent an inordinate amount of time, a huge amount of time, orienting people to the hospital generally, orienting people to their own individual departments, and so orienting them to the new technology that they're going to have and things like that. So, it's going to be it's very exciting. It's like, I get to unwrap my first present and I get to play with it, but then I've got to go to the next present and the next present and the next present.
Or you could be like the typical dad. How do I put this together? And oh my God, we forgot batteries. So, right? What will it be like for the patient, whether it be the patient or the visitor? When you walk through these doors, it's going to be intimidating. Even just trying to figure out where to drive out here in the beginning is intimidated. How will you handle that for the confusing patient, the confusing visitor? And when they walk in and they go to visit a patient here, how will they know where to go?
So, first of all, from a parking standpoint, we'll have valet parking. So our recommendation is that if you're coming in to visit, you come right to the front door. Valet will take your car to parking, and you can come right in here. There are going to be greeters at the front door, along with security personnel. And for those that have English as a second language, there will be interpreters here, so that and they will be greeted, and they'll ask where you're going to be going. Everybody's going to get a badge. The visitors will have a badge, so it'll be obvious that they are visitors, and then they'll be escorted to wherever it is that they're going. If they're going to labor and delivery, they'll be escorted up to the fourth floor.
Dr. Ami, I want to bring you in on this. Dr. Hall mentioned language, something we saw when we were in the city at an ER. But Utica is quite the melting pot.
It is.
We have how many languages at the school district? It's over 50. It's unbelievable. How do you handle that when someone walks into an ER and an ED and you can't understand them? Is there technology that helps you today?
Yeah, we have shared something that's really cool. It's an iPad. It's on a stand, and we kind of push what language we want, and then pops up like FaceTime.
Interesting.
Someone in a booth somewhere who literally FaceTimes with us in the room. It's all secure. all HIPAA protected, all privacy protected. And, there's something in translation. There's something lost in translation if you're just doing it over the phone.
Right.
What's so helpful is having the person who's doing the translating actually see what's going on.
So there's a picture.
Yeah, it's an actual FaceTime.
FaceTime.
It's like basically FaceTime.
Okay.
It's a video call, and there's something to just someone actually seeing what's going on and being able to respond in real time. And then all the nonverbal cues.
Yeah.
Right. To that.
It's like reading a text message versus hearing inflection and tone in someone's voice.
Right. And so it's so much easier. So we have a bunch of iPads. They're scattered around those 4 pods of the ER I talked about. And it's super easy. You just basically turn it on.
And it breaks down that language barrier.
Ideally, yeah.
Yeah. And then finally, you seem unbelievably excited.
Of course. This is an exciting opportunity for all of us in the city of Utica. I mean, new hospitals don't open up a lot in New York.
Yeah.
We're lucky in our lifetime as an ER doctor to be involved in the opening of a new ER. I was involved in the opening of a new hospital.
Right.
So we got to be involved in how do we place our emergency department in relation to all the other departments in the hospital to streamline patient care from the ER to an intervention to a step-down unit to a floor and eventually home for your loved ones. Right? Like, how do we streamline that?
Yeah.
And we got an empty canvas to work with, right? And there's the reasons why the floors are designed the way they are. That's why there's a stack above the ER. We also got to design what does a patient need while in the emergency department. They need labs. They need a CAT scanner. We put both those things right near the emergency department to streamline that. There's no, like, bouncing left, right, left, right to get to where they need to go. Everything's sort of streamlined. We thought about, how do we decrease that turn? Like, how can we make that hallway straighter now?
I do recall having a surgery at St. E's, and not everybody was able to go up the elevator. Now, I don't remember this because I was out, but I was told that was part of the deal. Not everybody could get on the same elevator car and go up.
Now we have a megavator.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah, it's a giant elevator. They put me in it. They they used me as a model to see, can we make sure that I can fit in? I'm not the biggest guy in the world, but make sure I can fit in it. Make sure a bunch of nurses can fit in it. Make sure the patient can fit in it. A vent, all the things that a critically ill patient needs as they leave the ER.
Well, thank you I'm so excited for you and Avi. Right? I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I kept thinking Dr. Oz, and it was screwing me up. My apologies.
That's all right.
I certainly wasn't going to be able to pronounce your last name.
That's all right.
But thank you. I appreciate it tremendously, and I'm excited for it.
All right. Thank you for having me on.
And for all of us, really.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Hall, you want to wrap it up here? We're live here at Wynn Hospital. This is exciting.
Yeah, this is, I mean, again, this is so huge for the community and for the patients that we are going to be taking care of here. And, the staff have just been, literally chomping at the bit. They to your point about Christmas, they just want to come in and see the tree and work around here. The number of people that are here this early in the morning that are getting ready to work. I mean, it is just phenomenal. And
we're seeing a lot of what looks like physicians and nurses who are coming through. This is all part of the process that you're going through. I'm assuming.
Yeah. So this is as I said yesterday, we have actually transitioned some non-clinical things down here, like the executive leadership team moved last week into the offices here. And, other people who are not taking direct patient care but can do their work from here are doing that. That's all in preparation because you don't want to try and move everything all on one day.
Yeah.
On Sunday, it's going to be all about patients, and that's what we want it to be.
All right. We appreciate it.
Coming up, we'll touch on this next hour more in detail. I know you mentioned it, but the valet service. And when you come to the Wynn Hospital for the first time as a patient, a visitor, maybe you're an employee who hasn't had a chance to come down and park down here yet, how does that work? We'll give you an explanation of that coming up next hour.
All right, we'll get to all of it. We're live from the Wynn Hospital. We're coming right back at WIBX.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale with over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, Up to $2,000 on 4x4s. Financing as low as 1.99. Save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
Get ready for this week's half-off Thursday deal with SeizeTheDeal.com. Score your half-off gift certificate to Villa Verona Vineyard and Bistro tomorrow morning starting at 8. Get $50 for $25 with Seize the Deal's half-off Thursday. Villa Verona Vineyard and Bistro. Enjoy fine wine made on the premises in the tasting room, plus great food at the bistro. Just minutes west of New York State Thruway, exit 33 on Route 365 Verona. Get your half-off Thursday gift certificates tomorrow from Villa Verona Vineyard and Bistro. Hurry, they sell out fast at SeizeTheDeal.com.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica, Rome, W295DI Utica, Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
Majority is united.
Though it hasn't been for 3 weeks as they keep trying to replace ousted Speaker Kevin McCarthy, Johnson's the fourth nominee, and a House vote could come today.
It's a good fit. I think he's got a great chance of getting this thing across the finish line.
Congressman Mike Collins tells Fox.
A lot of what we've been looking for here, since we're speakerless, is some new type of blood, some new leadership, some people that can bring in new ideas, probably, and run that place more like a business.
Tom Emmer was the Speaker nominee briefly yesterday until former President Trump posted on Truth Social his opposition, calling Emmer a rhino, Republican in name only. For a 19th day, Israel's going after Hamas terrorists in Gaza, and Fox's Trey Yingst reports.
We could see Israeli soldiers near the border. There was some level of commotion, small arms back and forth, and flares being fired into the air. We've learned today that 2 Hamas militants tried to infiltrate through the Zakim Beach area.
They were both killed trying to enter from the sea. Meanwhile,
along the border with Lebanon, more anti-tank guided missile attacks into Israeli territory.
Now, Israel's been firing back at Hezbollah militants there, while the leader of that group, backed by Iran, met today with the leaders of Hamas and Islamic Jihad, the terror groups targeting Israel from Gaza, where thousands of Palestinian civilians have been killed and caught in the crossfire, food and fuel in low supply. Hurricane Otis is raining down on Mexico's southern Pacific coast, and the Acapulco area came ashore as a monster Category 5 storm. Baseball's World Series is set. Arizona versus Texas. After the Diamondbacks beat the Phillies in Philadelphia 4-2 in a Game 7 to win the National League pennant, Corbin Carroll drove in the tying run, then scored what ended up the game-winning run, telling MLB Network.
I think it's really been a group effort. Players sticking up for players.
2 years ago, both the Diamondbacks and the Rangers lost more than 100 games. The World Series starts Friday. America's listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love.
Jeff?
I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
While the House keeps trying to elect a speaker so we can get back to business, the Senate's considering the $106 billion in foreign aid President Biden's requesting for Israel, Ukraine, and more.
The president's spending request to boost defense assistance for Israel and Ukraine must be passed quickly and with bipartisan support, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says.
For a very simple reason. It will make the world safer for the United States, our allies, and our democratic values.
Top Senate Republican Mitch McConnell is also signaling support, but says to expect changes.
The supplemental that was sent up is just a starting place. We're going to go over it with a fine-tooth comb.
He says Senate Republicans are looking for a credible border security provision in the legislation. Other Republicans have suggested separating spending for Israel from spending for Ukraine. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Now, all Republicans and Democrats in the Senate agreed on one thing yesterday. unanimously approving Michael Whitaker to take over as the leader at the FAA, which has not had a confirmed administrator in 18 months. The prior Biden nominee to head the FAA, Phil Washington, withdrew over concerns about his qualifications. Now an update on the Alaska Airlines pilot facing numerous charges, accused of trying to shut off the engines while a passenger on a flight Sunday.
Court documents have revealed that 44-year-old Joseph David Emerson, who was catching a ride in an extra cockpit seat on a Horizon Air flight, had recently taken psychedelic mushrooms. He apparently said, "I'm not okay," right before trying to disable the plane's engines. Alaska Airlines owns Horizon. They say neither the crew nor gate agents noticed any signs of impairment before boarding. He's facing a number of charges, including a federal charge of interfering with a flight crew, which carries a maximum of 20 years in prison. He pleaded not guilty Tuesday to 83 state counts of attempted murder. John Saucier, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are mixed before today's trading. I'm Dave Anthony, and this is Fox News.
We have cloudy skies and 52 degrees. WIBX News Time is 8:05. This news update is brought to you by Clinton Tractor, the leader in service. You can visit them online at clintontractor.net. Well, New Hartford police making an arrest of a Utica teenager in connection with the theft from Lowe's in New Hartford. Police say approximately $1,200 worth of merchandise was stolen from Lowe's in New Hartford when loss prevention officers attempted to stop. And Hello Del Rio, they say he ran off toward the New Hartford Legion. When cops responded, they say he ran off once again, trying to hide behind businesses on Clinton Street and Commercial Drive. They also say the alleged thief went so far as to change clothes during the pursuit to disguise himself. Ultimately, Del Rio was arrested and then positively identified as the suspect. He faces a charge of fourth-degree grand larceny, a Class E felony, and NHPD also claimed that Del Rio is a suspect in a separate larceny from the Best Buy in Consumer Square. The 18-year-old was issued an appearance ticket. He's due to answer the charges in New Hartford Town Court at a future date. New York State is announcing an expanded availability of the Real ID pre-screening tool. It makes it easier for you to apply for a Real ID. The agency says the availability of that pre-screening tool for those IDs has been expanded to make sure that people have the applications that are accurate before they go to their closest DMV office to file paperwork. Officials also urge residents to apply for a Real ID now so they don't have to worry about missing the May 2025 deadline when it requires that you have one. New York State joining dozens of other states in taking legal action against Meta, the social media company which oversees Facebook and Instagram, is facing a federal lawsuit. Meta is accused of hurting the mental health of young people and contributing to youth mental health issues. State Attorney General Letitia James claims that Meta designs its platform to have features that make kids become addicted while also lowering their self-esteem. Meta says it's working to provide a safer environment for teenagers. And the Saratoga Springs Board of Education voting to open up an investigation into coaches in the athletic department. A law firm has been hired to determine if allegations of physical and mental abuse that were reported by female athletes were handled properly. Some of those complaints include forcing students to take part in practices when they were sick or injured, and coaches using abusive language toward athletes. No word yet on how long that investigation is expected to take. WIBX News Time coming up on 8:08. Another warm day, especially compared to what we saw last week. Here's what we can expect from Eyewitness News.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint in the WIBX Weather Center. Today, more clouds than sunshine, warmer with a brief spotty sprinkle, but mainly dry weather, a high of 72. Tonight, mostly cloudy, mild, near 55. And tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy, small risk for a spotty sprinkle or brief shower, but mainly dry again, still very mild, a high near 70. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
We have cloudy skies, 52 degrees at 8:08. All right, in sports, Bill, how nice was it to watch the Philadelphia Phillies get ousted from the playoffs last night? No return trip to the Fall Classic.
I thought it was only the Mets that go through slumps and can't hit the ball.
1 for 10 last night, Philly was with runners in scoring position. Alec Boehm had an early home run to tie the game at 1. But the Diamondbacks win 4-2. Ricky Corbin Carroll had 2 RBIs on 3 hits. Gabe Moreno and Christian Walker also plated a run for the Diamondbacks, who will face the Texas Rangers Game 1 of the World Series Friday night in Arlington. Padres manager Bob Melvin, former Padres manager Bob Melvin, has been hired away by the San Francisco Giants. Melvin returns to his native Bay Area to manage the Giants after spending 2 seasons in San Diego. He helped lead the Padres to the NLCS last season, but the team missed the playoffs this year, where there were reports that there were disagreements between Melvin and the Padres GM. San Fran had requested and was granted an opportunity to interview Melvin last weekend, and obviously it went pretty well. NBA season kicking off last night. Nikola Jokic, a triple-double to start the season as the Nuggets beat the Lakers 119-107 in Denver. Elsewhere, Devin Booker had 32 points, KD 18 and 10, as the Suns fended off the Warriors 108-104 in San Francisco. A couple of other notes around the NBA. We've got the Knicks tipping off the season tonight, but maybe a bigger story. They could be interested in trading for reigning MVP Joel Embiid. New York would be sending multiple first-round picks and a mix of players like Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, Evan Fournier, and Mitchell Robinson. The deal not official, but there are just rumors that they are working on it. The Knicks will open the regular season tonight at MSG, hosting the Boston Celtics, that is. And the Nets tip off their season tonight as well. Brooklyn plays host to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's see. What did I miss? In hockey, the Islanders losing streak up to 3. They lost 7-4 to Colorado. The Rangers have earned back-to-back victories to begin their 5-game road trip. The Blue Shirts came from behind to beat the Flames 3-1 in Calgary. The Utica Comets are on the road at Syracuse on Friday night. They come back on Saturday night doing some Halloween celebration.
I saw that, and I think it's going to be our first game. We're excited about going.
That's going to be Saturday night at the Adirondack Bank Center against the Rochester Americans.
Let's see. I have all sorts of action here and comments. Let's see. Rick saying, I think what Galimi is trying to do is present a timeline where he.
I think so. I think the easiest way to describe it, though, is what you said. I had some concerns initially. Then my mind was changed. I've come around. My opinion evolved. Just
I was
simply
fighting
hearing
for the
him
businesses. At that time,
yes.
There was no one fighting for the businesses. I was fighting for the businesses. But I have evolved, and there's no one in this world any more supportive of this new Wynn Hospital than I am right now. And it would end it. But the denial that he didn't say that he was against it, that he didn't mean he was against it when his words said, I am against it, that is the festering that I was talking about that makes this story continue and, to me, offers an advantage to his opponents.
Yes.
Opens the door. And I'm just saying.
Now, I thought, as the counterattack, if I can say, I thought he raised some good points in his counterattack with the whole Genesee Street situation. The businesses weren't notified.
Correct.
They came to the meetings and said no one ever came to us and talked to us. There was this whole thing about, was it a bike lane? Was it an inmate escape aisle? There was all these.
That's another example of it's not a bike lane. It looks like a bike lane to me. Nope, that's not.
2 weeks ago, you were calling it a bike lane.
It's simply 2 lines going up the street with about 2 feet of empty space in the middle. It's not a bike lane.
Yes, because it wasn't congested.
I just saw a bike go down that. That doesn't matter. It's not a bike lane.
So I thought it's a decent counter argument in my opinion.
It is, but
when you say no,
yeah,
you weren't always a yes, and just an acknowledgement of that, I think, would go a long way for him. I'm certainly not. So we're not suggesting at all that now he's like in the no hospital camp.
So
no, he says that he's for it.
If
Absolutely.
If we're recommending anything to him now, he's so far into saying I never said it. I guess you might as well stick with it at this point. After our interview with Mike, I do not agree that he's handling it the way he should handle it as the mayoral candidate with 2 weeks left. Just my take.
And then Donna chiming in here to say counterattack. I still haven't heard about the last big party down in New York City with the illegal lovers and how much she got for her mayoral race from that fundraiser, which we did discuss. Celeste did mention she would disclose that in her campaign filings.
I think we asked, and at that point she did not know. But, yeah, I think that's a fair question. However, as Bob Cardillo said,
Yes.
I've raised money in Washington. I've raised money everywhere, and you need to do that as a candidate. There are just a lot of side issues in this race. I was talking about the Rome mayor's race from last night, and it was a debate between Jackie Izzo and Jeff Lanigan.
Yep.
And at one point, it did get a little heated. I have some audio from that I might be able to play for you when we come back. And then you tell me, how does that come up? How does the potential voter handle that? Because I've heard it described as, a high five, great job, you got her. I've also heard people say, I'm kind of, that was mean, I'm kind of offended by that. So how does the voter walk away? How does the independent, undecided voter walk away from a comment like that? I'll play the clip. It was at the Rome Capitol Theater last night, streamed live. There were about 100 people watching the stream consistently, and a pretty good crowd of supporters of both sides in the theater, put together by the League of Women Voters and by the NAACP in Rome. So I'll play some audio on that coming up in a few minutes.
Just one more thought on the Utica mayor's race. I'm going to ballpark it. I'm going to say 3 out of 4 voters in the city of Utica. 3 out of 4 voters in the city of Utica. Prior to this discussion about were you for or against the hospital, did you have a fundraiser downstate, upstate, where was it? Do you think Bob Cardillo is qualified with basically the things that he's done before, working
Should he
for the
get out of
federal
the race?
government? I think 3 out of 4 voters for a while now has known who they're going to support in this race. You either think Celeste is for you, or you think she's too far
It's
one
funny
way.
that you say
You
that,
either
because
like Mike Galimi, or you think he's wishy-washy, or you've always been a fan of Bob Cardillo, or you didn't buy into him the last 2 times he ran, and you're still not buying into him.
You ever have a feeling on something? Something happens, and you're like, "Wow, I am the way I feel. Everyone feels that way."
Mm-hmm.
And because how else could they? I mean, there's no
Well,
other
if I
way.
thought I was wrong, I would change my opinion.
That's exactly right. There's no other way anybody could think. And just when you think that, you become incredibly surprised that, oh, my God, there's like half the people out there disagree with me. Or maybe it's only a quarter. Whatever it might be. It is very interesting. But you bring up a very good point, and it's very applicable to the Rome race as well. If you're a supporter of Mayor Jackie Izzo, you can't believe Jeff Lanigan was so disrespectful. If you are for Jeff Lanigan and not for Mayor Izzo, then you're high-fiving.
Yeah.
But if the only thing that matters is what does the independent or undecided voter think about that? Does that sway them in any different way? They have no relationship with either candidate. They're not sure which way they're going to go. How do they think? And that's the only thing that matters, and that's where you gain votes or lose votes in a debate. Very interesting. We'll see where it all goes. I'll play the audio for you coming up on that, but it is the truth. Just when you think everyone agrees with you, think again, because it's not that simple. I got a break. And, oh, by the way, somebody who really supports someone, that someone can do something really bad. And those people may very well still support them. We've seen that in a few situations.
Yes.
As well. It's just we have blind faith at times as human beings. Might even be going on federally. I don't know. Maybe it involves the Trump situation. Blind faith? Got a break. We'll come back, and we are live at the Wynn Hospital. Really excited as we're sitting in the lobby. This is the first place you will go unless you're heading off to the emergency room. Which is quite spectacular in itself. We'll get to all of it coming up here live from the new hospital at WIBX.
Hi, this is Scott Hayes.
And this is Jill Hayes from New York Sash.
Honey, there's a lot of folks out there right now that could use a makeover.
What? Honey, you can't say that. You shouldn't say that.
No, not a personal makeover, honey. Their bathroom. They could use a bathroom makeover from New York Sash. It's our annual bathroom makeover sale. For one final week, you can get 20% off a New York Sash acrylic bathroom system. It's the best price we offer all year.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. It's the makeover everyone can enjoy, a New York Sash bathroom. Our installers will give you a whole new look in just a couple of days, with no mess, no maintenance, and no worries with our lifetime warranty.
Your bathroom will never look better. You can visit our showroom on Oriskany Boulevard in Whitesboro. Call us or lock in your discount right now online at NewYorkSash.com. Get 20% off your new bathroom for one final week.
And let our family take care of your family for less.
Rome Mayor Jackie Izzo.
As a business person, I saw Rome stalling, ran on a platform of a new beginning where we needed to concentrate on economic development, housing, jobs. And I think we've delivered on all of those. But not only that, we've done so much more. We've taken care of our infrastructure. We have increased job opportunities throughout the community. We've brought in over $70 million in grant money. Private sector investment is up near $350 million, probably more than at any time, even when Griffiths was built. And so the new beginning really doesn't have an end. That's why we need to continue this great work into the next 4 years. This has been the best experience of my life and the most humbling experience to work for the taxpayers of the city of Rome. And I hope that you will give me that opportunity to continue our work this November with your vote.
On Election Day, vote to re-elect Mayor Jackie Izzo. Let's keep Rome moving forward. Paid for by friends of Jackie Izzo.
The Community Foundation of Herkimer and Oneida Counties is your community foundation. Together, we've invested $125 million in the community, thanks to people, families, and businesses that want to give back and build a brighter future. And you don't have to have big bucks to make a big difference. Join us as we invest in the future of our community. Learn more about your community foundation at foundationhoc.org.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. There are a lot of great dads out there. Sometimes those dads get divorced. For more than 30 years, we've represented men in divorce, confronting the pitfalls that could devastate your finances or harm your family relationships. While every situation is different, our goal is to get the best outcome for you and your kids. Visit CordellCordell.com to take the first step.
518-554-0000. 100 Great Oaks Boulevard, Suite 110, Albany, New York, 12203. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Fall is in the air and the season for trucks has arrived at Steed Ponte Chevrolet. If you're ready to conquer the changing weather and want a truck that's like new without breaking the bank, then shop Steed Ponte Chevrolet. Test drive a 2021 Chevrolet Trailblazer Active all-wheel drive with only 13,000 miles or a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado Crew Cab LT four-wheel drive with only 18,000 miles. These are not just any trucks. They're certified pre-owned by GM, ensuring quality and reliability. Plus, when you choose a certified pre-owned vehicle at Steed Ponte Chevy, you'll receive a 6-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty and an additional 1-year bumper-to-bumper limited warranty. Visit us online at SteedPonteChevy.com. Embrace the fall season with a truck from Steed Ponte Chevrolet and find new roads. Steed Ponte Chevrolet, Route 28 in Herkimer. See why it's always easy to do business at Steed Ponte Chevrolet. These trucks won't last long. Offer ends October 31st, 2023.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s. Financing as low as 1.99. Save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
On behalf of IBEW Local 43 Union Electricians and the Utica Contractors, we are pleased to partner with Alfred State University in providing our members with an opportunity to enhance their education at this great university.
Alfred State is proud to strengthen our long history of working with unions to create non-traditional pathways for career advances in the skilled trades.
Central New York's future is bright, and the IBEW Local 43 and NECA will continue to help light, power, and grow Central New York.
Ready for a smoother and safer ride? Head to Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, your trusted tire experts. At Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, you'll get expert advice from their knowledgeable staff. And it doesn't end there. Now through October 31st, buy 4 eligible Bridgestone tires and get up to $100 back on a Bridgestone Visa prepaid card. For details, visit tallmanstire.com. Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Get the tires you and your vehicle deserve at the best prices guaranteed. From Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Online at tallmanstire.com.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Back at the Wynn Hospital, the sun beginning to shine a little bit. When I leave here today, I'm going to take a few pictures because I know if I'm still alive in 25 years, I want to be able to show the pictures of the scaffolding still out there. This is what it looked like when they were first building it. Pretty cool. In our lobby studio here at Wynn Hospital, we have Patty Charvet and Chris Kilmartin. Chris is with security, and Patty, your title would be really tight to that microphone there.
Okay.
You're everything, a little bit of everything, right?
I am the Senior Vice President of Marketing and Strategy, which leaves it wide open enough to say, hey, maybe we got a gap here. Why don't you help us figure out a parking plan?
That you're right. You are, no matter what it is they need. And the parking plan is a big deal. A lot of people have been worried, just like we were this morning. Where do we go? Where do we park? This is a big facility. So what's in store for everybody?
So first and foremost, I mean, as you said, it's a big facility. It takes a lot of steps, right? We've actually counted steps and mileage. So before the parking garage is open in this spring, you can see it right out the front window here. We are having free valet parking for patients and visitors because we feel like it's really important that they get here, not have to walk. As we were doing the front doors during COVID, watching people struggle to come into the doors of St. E's and St. Luke's, we felt that this was a really important service. So we will have valet parking 7 days a week. During the weekdays, it will be from 5:30 to 8:30, so we accommodate surgical patients. On the weekends, it'll be 10 to 8 during visiting hours. If people are here later than that, we will have security at our front desk that you're sitting at right now.
Okay.
24/7, and they will have keys, and they can go get people's cars for them. So there's always this concern about what ifs, right? We have a lot of what ifs. And then for employees, because the majority of employees will be parking in the garage, we have a temporary plan to use some of the surface lots. We're also shuttling people from St. Luke's to the Wynn on weekdays. So if you work 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., the shuttle runs from 5:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. If you work the 7 p.m. shuttle shift to 7 a.m., you can still take the shuttle on weekdays. On weekends, we have a plan. It's not as many staff here to park in the surface lots here.
So this is so there are steps that have to be taken because the garage is not ready.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I have to say, though, the county and Rabesh have been really, really helpful in helping us identify expanded parking areas. Across the Oriskany, we have Nexus and the Odd, and there's a lot there that they're allowing us to use for the time being.
And then, again, the shuttle service is for employees.
For employees.
So people who are visiting or patients don't look for the shuttle. It's the valet right at the front door. It's the valet.
You park right at the front door. If you don't do that, you have to park in the visitor parking lot, it's about a half-mile walk, right, to go from the parking lot to the main entrance. So if you're up for a walk and you want to increase your steps, by all means. But if you want to come in, get your service done, or visit a family member and leave, have your car dropped off.
I'm assuming it's not required, but a tip here or there of the person taking your car is always nice.
It is not expected, but appreciated.
Yeah. Okay. Let's bring in Chris Kilmartin. Chris, you're with security here. You got a big building to take care of.
Yes, we got our challenges ahead of us, but this building was built with security in mind, safety for not only our patients but our staff as well. We learned a lot from St. Luke's and St. Elizabeth's, so right from the beginning of the design stages, this building was security right in mind. So I'm lucky enough to be with the organization for 18 years, and I can tell you that the senior leadership, all my suggestions were taken very seriously. So we went from my main office at St. Luke's being like 8 by 8 to this humongous security office down here with not only a workspace for the security officers, but we have a security operations center in there with 6 65-inch monitors on the wall. We have 400 cameras that somebody will be monitoring those cameras 24/7. Our access control is tied right into the camera system, so we will get alerts if doors are propped open. We can actually see anybody that's tapping into a door. We get their badge right up on the screen. So it's very
that's great.
It is you're dealing with a different world today. It seems like all of this started after 9/11, I guess, maybe. But it's a different world to make sure these public facilities are secure.
Yeah, and working at the old campuses, we've had, I think one campus has 7 entrances, the other has like 11 ways that you can get in. This building was designed with just 2 entrances in for the public and our staff. Obviously, we have emergency exits, but again, we can be alerted if those doors are propped open. So a single line of entry with security here using our Evolve weapons detection system, it's going to make the place a lot safer than what we currently have.
Wow. And then do you have a different, is there a different protocol, a different way of handling the emergency room or the emergency department?
Yeah, so the emergency department, we're going to have 2 designated security officers just for the emergency department treatment area. They'll be in there to support the staff and the patients. We don't expect those officers to respond outside of the emergency department.
Okay.
And then whatever we do at this entrance with the weapons detection system, we will do in the ED entrance as well. Security there, guest relations, language assistance. So I think it's going to be really safe. We increased our security staff. Somebody would think that we just take St. Luke's and St. E's and put them together and we'd have enough for this Wynn Hospital, but we didn't. We increased our staff, I believe, almost like 30%, right, Patty? Because obviously there's a large footprint, and we got a lot more responsibilities down here. We will have security outside as well, patrolling in our vehicle 24/7 as well.
Okay, all right, very interesting. And Patty, I just wanted to wrap with you. Winter's coming. I don't know what kind of winter we're going to have, but at some point it's going to be blowing and cold and snowy. We're going to really get used to this valet service.
Yes, we are.
That is going to be extremely convenient.
Well, and you know what? We are going to see what the usage is and how people like it or not. Because we do hear, I don't want to give my keys to anybody.
Yeah.
So we will see how it goes. We've extended it past the opening of the garage. And it's a possibility that we could have it for the foreseeable future.
Okay. All right.
All right.
We're excited.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you. You guys do the same and enjoy this excitement. This is historic, what we're going to be witnessing here.
Yeah.
And really what happens on Sunday is monumental. It's going to be something to be around Utica and see this actually happening. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, I think. As somebody said earlier, hospitals just don't open up in New York State every day. This is a very unique occurrence. Pretty cool. We'll come back to a Wynn Hospital in the lobby here this morning, live on WIBX.
Want to know how to get the same cell coverage for up to half the cost? Well, instead of spending a fortune building and maintaining their own cell phone towers, Consumer Cellular just pays to use the same towers as the largest carriers and passes the savings on to you. Pretty smart, huh? Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single-line 5GB data plan with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single-line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plan offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023.
Hi, I'm Mike Delaney. When elected mayor, backed by 8 years of direct action with the people as council president and decades of professional experience, I will establish a new roadmap for our city based on the needs and concerns garnered from your doorsteps. Standing alongside you as a fellow citizen, I will lead as a trustee of our tax dollars with a keen attention to detail, committed to setting policies that will improve the delivery of all city services, holding our government accountable. On November 7th, make the right choice for Utica. Vote Mike Galimi for mayor.
Paid for by Mike for Mayor.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99. Save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
I'm Anthony Pacenti. As county executive, I tackled tough issues. I acted to make our schools safer for our children. I immediately stopped the immoral attempt to bus illegal migrants into Oneida County. I continue to work every day to combat the scourge of the opiate epidemic in our community. I will continue to tackle tough issues head on, and I won't let bad decisions in Albany stop us. And I ask for your vote on November 7th.
Leadership and a vision for the future is how Oneida County is moving forward. Oneida County Executive Tony Pacenti.
We've made significant investments in healthcare and public safety, created new opportunities in tourism and youth sports, and invested big in high-tech, state-of-the-art research, resulting in high-quality jobs right here at home.
Oneida County is working, growing, and moving forward. On November 7th, let's keep it that way. Re-elect Tony Pacenti, Oneida County Executive.
Paid for by friends of Tony Pacenti.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We push what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
Catch Keeler on the go. Download the free WIBX 950 app today. Now back to Keeler on WIBX.
There we go. Good morning. We're live this morning at the all-new Wynn Hospital, and I think I described it as the all-new and soon-to-open Wynn Hospital, and we're bringing in MVHS Executive VP, not the ex-VP. That's funny. Bob Schofield, and we'll also bring in President Darlene Stromstad as well. Bob, pull up right here to the microphone, and wow, I try to think of the timeline. And it's almost like a battlefield timeline. This has been an adventure from start to here we go, finish, or from start to beginning.
Well, first of all, thanks for having us. And you're right. I don't look at it as a battlefield. So anything worth having is worth working for.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's where we are today. It's almost 9 years to the date that this project was first thought of.
Wow.
With an awful lot of work in between, whether it was the working through the state health department, getting the grant for the facility, working with the local electives, working with property owners, building to building, and then today getting ready to move our patients.
How many times did you hear, they'll never be able to ...
A couple of times.
A few times, maybe. Yeah. Right down to raising the money. And who would have thought at the beginning of this story that the hospital would be named after Steve Wynn, and he would have come to the rescue?
I don't know that
part of the rescue.
Well, I don't know that any of us had envisioned that someone of Steve's notoriety would have been part of it, but we're thrilled that he is.
Yeah.
Now, just a reminder, the donation that Steve made did not go towards the construction of this building. All the dollars for this building are a combination of MVHS dollars and the grant.
I'd forgotten about that. And his, I seem to recall that when he made the donation, it was what he thought was an investment in the medical care in this area.
He said it so well during our ribbon cutting event. We all will need a hospital someday.
Yeah.
And it's in all of our best interests, including his, yours, and mine, that we have a top-notch, well-staffed, well-equipped medical facility to take care of what we need in the future.
And, something we've talked about since the very beginning, you've talked about it, Dr. Hall has talked about it, and that is the flow. One of the big major differences that we will experience at the Wynn Hospital is the flow. How, and I think I said last segment, how you've been able to take from every hospital that ever existed, learn from all of that, and then try to make it better with a brand new hospital.
Absolutely. It was important for us to use a healthcare architect who has done this numerous times, who worked directly with our staff to understand how we take care of patients here in Utica.
Yeah.
Combine those two factors and build a facility that makes sense for our patients, our staff, and for the community as a whole.
What are you most proud of here?
That we've got it done.
That
we have so many staff that spent so many hours, whether it was helping in the design phase or the operational readiness or now the move. We have wonderful people that work for us here at MVHS.
And think about it. You're going to be able to tout the fact that this all happened despite a pandemic that we all lived through.
A little detail in the middle of everything. Yeah, we had a couple of years that challenged us with staffing, supply chain. Those supply chain issues exist right up through today. Still just starting to get caught up with things that can get delivered on time. Furniture has been a big issue for us.
Yeah.
Working with a great local company, ROI, for furniture procurement for the building, but they are struggling making sure everything gets arrived on time because so much of it is coming from overseas.
You were a big proponent. Remember, we toured this when there were dirt floors. We have toured when things started to come together and the bathroom pods were being put in. We've had a few tours during this whole process, and then here we are today with a completion. Through all of this, every time you were always talking about, you see that truck over there, that's a local contractor, and that over there, they brought in concrete, they're local. This has been a big part of this from construction, but beyond construction as well, in ways that you've actually completed the facility.
Absolutely. This hospital is a community asset. So as many local businesses that could participate, we tried to have them involved, whether it was contractors or people supplying the furniture. These beautiful trellises in the lobby were designed and built by Mida Lighting here down the street, and worked with Bob Cohen and his team. They did a great job, and they installed them, and I think it gives that little extra positive flair to the entrance of the lot.
It really does when you walk in.
Yeah, the Wynn Hospital. Yep.
The Wynn money, the $50 million, and where you said not part of the facility here.
It's not used for brick and mortar. Yep. Mr. Wynn made it clear that he felt that those dollars are best spent for things that can make life easier for our staff in this building, whether it's for recruitment, for physicians, staff, equipment in the future, whatever it is that will allow taking care of patients easier and more efficient. So we didn't use those dollars for building the building.
So, and I wanted to ask about, obviously, when the change happens on Sunday, don't go to St. E's, don't go to St. Luke's. Faxton's campus remains open. And what happens there? Is any change to what goes on there?
So nothing changes at Faxton. If you are currently receiving services at Faxton, dialysis or something through our cancer program, you will continue to go there. Faxton hasn't seen inpatients for a number of years, so at this point, everything at Faxton remains at Faxton.
Gotcha.
Joe is in, I believe he's in Sarasota right now, and he said Sarasota Memorial Hospital always has valet parking for free. They've been doing it for years. The talk of having that possible service available into the future is big, but having it right now is going to be a convenience we're going to get very used to quickly. I feel it's convenient.
Oh, it is convenient. If my assumption is from folks I've talked with here internally, if it is accepted readily, then maybe that's something we could continue. We did try valet at one of our campuses years ago, and it was not well utilized, but maybe at this location might be.
Well, you're going to want to use it before the garage gets completed. And then the other part is with the garage being connected to the hospital. Obviously, St. E's was, but this is going to be a different garage. This is new and modern.
A much more new and modern garage. It will have over 1,300 parking spaces on it. It will also have a connecting walkway from the corner of the garage right into our front entrance.
Okay, all right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you think you'd ever get here?
Absolutely.
You did. Yeah, you did. You were very persistent. Let's bring in Darlene Stromstad as the president of MVHS and Wynn Hospital. And this is something that you do, though, right? Nice and tight, if you could, to that mic. This is not your first go-around and building and opening a new hospital.
It is not, but this is probably the most special.
It's been a lot of, I think at one point I had asked you, have you ever been through this? And you said, I've been through this, but it was never like this.
Yes.
Can you reflect on that?
So, well, we had a few things that happened along the way.
Yeah.
COVID, workforce shortage, materials shortages, and early on, I would say, opposition to a wonderful opportunity for this community.
Yeah. We're good at that, apparently.
We are.
We can oppose like no one can oppose. But it didn't stop it, and here we are. So as you go through this weekend and the rest of the week, a lot to be done. There's a lot that's going to be happening. And what do you say to the public?
So we will be ready, and we will be ready to move the patients on Sunday morning. We have people working here nights, weekends. We have just such an esprit de corps in the organization right now to make sure that we're ready to go.
I've described it as I feel like this is going to be a spectacular, historic moment, what happens beginning on Sunday morning. Would you agree with, just the fact that you're going to be able to see, I don't know, will we see a caravan? What are we going to see on Sunday?
So you will see ambulances coming from the two hospitals, St. E's and St. Luke's, but they will be timed. So it's not going to tie up traffic.
Got it.
Every 3.5 to 4 minutes, there will be an ambulance leaving. And it's highly orchestrated, choreography, if you will. So it won't be a problem with any traffic, but you'll see the ambulances going.
If I'm sitting over there at St. Luke's or St. E's right now, and how do you pick who goes first? And if you're the first patient to enter the hospital, that's pretty significant.
That's pretty significant. So, and we expect that the first patient, that the media will be interested in that first patient. So we will have those discussions going up to that morning. There is a team of people that every day meets to look at the rosters of patients that are in-house to identify if we were to move at this point, who would go in what order. That gets updated every day.
Okay. It's kind of like having the first baby of the new year.
Right.
It's very similar. Well, listen, I think we've all been in good hands with your knowledge of doing this before. And through all of this, through so much, you guys got it done.
We got it done. And we always knew we would get it done. We always knew there'd be issues that we would have to deal with along the way. But something this important to this community cannot not get done, as I would say. It had to happen. And you can see the result. Yeah. The result not only for healthcare, but you can see the result to this downtown community. And one of the things that this new hospital also does is it's a platform for us to recruit physicians. And we've been able to recruit a lot of physicians over the last couple of years for this facility. It has helped us build that residency program that will allow us to continue to recruit physicians in and then grow our own physicians.
Yeah.
So the impact that this hospital has on this community just can't be understated. Excuse me. And I would also say this about the employees who are working on it and remind them that every single one of them that is involved in this project and has been involved in this project, they leave their handprints on history. So this is an enormous historic event, and that's why we're getting so much excitement from our employees, because they're able to put their handprints.
Yeah, you would have to imagine when you talk about recruitment. I just wanted to follow up on that point. We have a brand new state-of-the-art hospital, and I'm not knocking what currently exists, but I mean, how old is the St. E's building and everything that's gone on there, and you've had to try to, I guess for lack of a better term, retrofit when there's been changes or expansions, or you change the layout of a department. The latest technology and everything else has to make it easier to bring in medical professionals to say, yes, I'd like to get my hands wet in a particular building like this.
Absolutely. When they come in, when we're recruiting now, and for the past year, when we recruit people in, we always take them through. And it frequently is a game changer, because they want the opportunity to work in a place like this. But my friend Steve Wynn says, a building is just a building. It's the people inside that make all the difference. So we have had employees going through many levels of orientation to be ready to work in this building. We're doing customer service training. We have changed up the way we accept people into the front of this building. So we want this to be a really important and a wow experience for people.
Well, we want to say certainly congratulations.
Thank you.
And we're excited to see what happens going through into the weekend and certainly into the future.
Well, we appreciate your longtime support of this hospital. We know you have been a longtime supporter, and we appreciate that. And just one thing we would ask people, I know people are interested in watching what's happening, but we are asking people to please stay away. If you want to watch what's happening at the hospital, park across the street, get out of your car, stand there, don't come onto the property, and don't block traffic.
Fair enough.
Allow us to do our job so we keep safe patient care.
And do not be intimidated by valet parking. It'll keep you out of the cold. Yes. So, okay, Darlene, thank you so much and congratulations.
I just want to add, I think you were against it before you were for it.
Was I against it? I mean, it's nice to say that we were on the right side. I feel on the right side of history. So I'm good with that. I feel I can look myself
thank you,
in the
guys.
mirror. Thank you so much. All right, coming up, we'll talk to Brian Nobles. We'll wrap it up here at the brand new Wynn Hospital opening on Sunday. We're in the lobby, and we'll talk a little politics coming right up. Hold tight. Coming back to the Wynn Hospital on WIBX.
This Saturday, the Rome Capitol Theater presents The Invisible Man double feature with a screening of two classics. The Invisible Man, released in 1933, is regarded as one of the classics of the genre, and Abbott and Costello meets The Invisible Man is hilarious. Don't miss The Invisible Man double feature this Saturday at the Rome Capitol Theater. For tickets and more information, visit www.romecapital.com.
Rome Mayor Jackie Izzo.
As a business person, I saw Rome stalling, ran on a platform of a new beginning where we needed to concentrate on economic development, housing, jobs. And I think we've delivered on all of those. But not only that, we've done so much more. We've taken care of our infrastructure. We have increased job opportunities throughout the community. We've brought in over $70 million in grant money. Private sector investment is up near $350 million, probably more than at any time, even when Griffiths was built. And so the new beginning really doesn't have an end. That's why we need to continue this great work into the next 4 years. This has been the best experience of my life and the most humbling experience to work for the taxpayers of the city of Rome. And I hope that you will give me that opportunity to continue our work this November with your vote.
On Election Day, vote to re-elect Mayor Jackie Izzo. Let's keep Rome moving forward. Paid for by friends of Jackie Izzo.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
And we're back here at the Wynn Hospital. The final few days of preparation underway here. We're in the lobby broadcasting here this morning. And pretty amazing. After all of what has gone on, here we are This is happening this weekend. From NBC, Ryan Noble standing by. Ryan, good morning.
Hey, Bill, good morning.
By the way, you've been what were you on the Today Show this week?
Yeah, I had my first live hit right in Studio 1A with Savannah, Hoda, and Al. It was a pretty big thrill. I mean, I'm on the Today Show on a pretty regular basis, but from D.C. So
right.
to actually be in New York and be on the set and go through that whole process was really a dream come true. And Savannah and Hoda were amazing, and Al was great. Yeah, and the picture I posted on Facebook took on a life of its own. So
yeah, it was very
but
cool.
It's exciting. You know, it's funny when I post stuff like that. It's so great to see all the people from different points in my career get excited about it too. And there was a ton of people from Utica who commented on that. So it means so much to me. So yeah, it's exciting.
Well, I just wanted to ask, do you think, and I'm pretty sure it's me, but I'm pretty sure I'm taller than Al Rucker. Would you agree with that?
You're probably so it would be an interesting. I'd like to see you go back to back. I mean, I guess it would depend if you've got those lifts in your shoes.
Good, which I always do. So, all right, we're going to talk a little. Let's see. I don't have a lot of time. You don't have a lot of time. Let's talk a little bit of politics and then switch to the big disaster, and that is in Western New York, of course, Buffalo. So let's start. Will there be a Speaker of the House? Because I got to tell you, the guy that they picked has quite the history and played a pretty big role in the election denial and on January 6th. So,
which might help him, Bill. I mean, that might be the reason he's going to get over the top. I do get the sense, and I'm not to the Capitol quite yet, but I'm almost there, and I wasn't there late last night, but I do get the sense that this is kind of the guy they've settled on. I don't think anybody's necessarily enthusiastic about Mike Johnson of Louisiana, but he seems to be the least offensive of all the people that have come up, at least within the Republican conference. We could talk more about
I've seen him described as mild-mannered, under the radar, and strategic.
Yeah, he's very vanilla, to be honest with you. I mean, he's a very just kind of average guy. I mean, a nice guy, very affable, very easy to talk to. Looks the part. I mean, if you drew up Speaker of the House in central casting, he would probably pass that test. But you're right. I think his record is very conservative. I mean, it is as conservative as Jim Jordan's, but he presents that brand of conservatism with a little bit softer of a touch. And so I think that was kind of the the narrow thread that needed to be spun through the needle. Because he checks all the boxes. He denied the election results. He actually wrote the amicus brief that many members of Congress signed. He is very strict on abortion. He's strict on gay rights, gun control, all that stuff. But he presents it in a much more palatable fashion. And I think that it's enough for the moderates to kind of hold their nose and vote for him. And it's enough for the conservatives to feel as though they've got one of their guys in the most important post in Washington after this debacle, which they absolutely overplayed their hands. So his biggest issue, I think, is going to be a huge lack of experience. He's never even been a chairman of a committee, much less been responsible for running the entire Republican conference. And he's going to have to raise a ton of money. And that's not something he's ever had to do in his career because he's in a very safe district in Louisiana. So, but, it only takes 5 people to derail this process. Maybe somebody slept on it last night and decided they don't like him. So It's not a done deal until we go to the floor and actually see it play out.
I assume there'll be not a single Democrat.
Oh, definitely not. There were potential candidates out there who, and I would even include Tom Emmer in that group, who was who was speaker designate for about 45 minutes yesterday, who is very conservative, but was thought to be somebody that Democrats thought they could work with. And I think that if there was a scenario where maybe there were 5 or 6 holdouts that the Democrats could potentially have come to rescue him. But, he had 2025. And then once Donald Trump posted that, he was a rhino or whatever, that sealed his fate. But Johnson is going to get voted in only by Republicans today. So that posture hasn't really changed. There's no bipartisan compromise here. And once we get over this hump and have a speaker, oh my gosh, there's going to be so much chaos after that, because there's so much stuff that needs to get done, and he represents the wing of the party that is going to stand in the way of that. So there's no doubt about that.
All right, interesting stuff. So you think it could very well get done. This could be one that could put an end to all of this, and there really needs to be an end.
Yeah, I just think everybody's sick and tired of it at this point.
And is this a guy that will support shutting the government down?
Well, so he's floated the idea of a continuing resolution already in his pitch to lawmakers. So,
all right.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be easy, but I think that, he hasn't drawn a hard line in that perspective. If that, yeah.
All right. I think I got about 2 minutes here. Buffalo. What is going on here? What's going on with Josh Allen? And by the way, I know the defense got beat up and pretty badly in London, but it seems like we don't even have a defense right now.
Well, I don't think you can blame the defense. I mean,
no doubt.
The defense. Yeah, I mean, the defense is the one that came up with that huge fumble in the waning minutes of the game that I thought was going to seal the victory for them. They obviously gave up a pretty easy drive there at the end of the game, but man, the defense has held most teams under 25 points, which in the NFL in 2023 is basically where you want to be. This is a problem that is squarely on the offense. This is supposed to be an offense that puts up 30 to 40 points a game. And, they're going 3 quarters without even scoring a touchdown. And that's not possible. And I don't know what the problem is. I do think I subscribe to this belief that there is a mental issue with Josh right now, in that I think he's been overcoached. They're so scared to death that he's going to get hurt that they told him to stop running completely. I mean, Bill, how many games last year where they couldn't get the passing game open or get the passing game going, where Josh Allen just decided to run the ball himself down the throats of their opponents, and they're just not doing that this year.
I said this was the case from the beginning, the Jets game. It didn't look like the same Josh Allen. They've gotten in his head. Well, let's see what tomorrow night brings. What is today, Thursday? No, today's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Tomorrow night brings, Ryan.
Tomorrow night, yeah.
I'm
nervous if they're even a playoff team right now, Bill, so hopefully they can change my mind.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I'm very nervous as well. Very. All right, Ryan, thank you. Have a wonderful week. We'll talk again next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank everybody
Thank
from
you, Ryan.
MVHS, the Wynn Hospital. We are excited about this weekend. WIBX, Utica, Rome, it's 9 o'clock.
Airstrikes inside Gaza.
The death toll there rapidly rising to more than 5,700 people. We know that the factions inside Gaza, despite these ongoing airstrikes by the Israeli military, have maintained their capability 19 days into this conflict to fire on major population centers with long-range rockets. Earlier today,